And away we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. The big show is on the radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina, and of course the rest of the world. It is great to be with you one more time again. I am Rob Brown. The pleasure exclusively mine. Thank you so much for tuning in and for helping us continue to grow and better the best sports talk show in the state of South Carolina, as named by the South Carolina Broadcasters Association. Directly across from me, the man who made that award and my dreams come true. He is the great one, battered, bruised, beaten, but still here, ladies and gentlemen. Champions rise to the occasion, and Lonzo is a champion. What up, Zo?
You forgot bloodied.
I said bloodied. Didn't I say battered, bloodied, and
I thought you said battered, bruised, and beaten.
Either way, I looked over at Lonzo before we played mini golf. But Lonzo managed to make himself bleed before we started playing mini golf, which is very impressive.
Yeah. So we're just standing out there waiting to get started, and then Rob's like, "Hey, Lonzo, are you all right? Like, what do you mean?" And he pointed at my leg, and there was just blood all down my leg, and I just didn't even notice.
Before we even started, ladies and gentlemen.
Because as Jesse Ventura said, I ain't got time to bleed. But apparently I did. So there was just blood down my leg. I didn't know. I thought I got bit. I don't know what, and I scratched it a little bit and went on, and apparently my shorts, or jorts, if you will,
they were jorts.
Rubbed to a degree where I just had blood all down my leg. And then, so I went to the food truck to get some napkins. They didn't have any in there yet. And there was someone waiting at the food truck who just kept looking at my leg like, this is so gross. What am I supposed to do, though? I mean, I had blood all over my leg. What can we do?
Texas says, yeah, Rob, how did putt-putt go? It went exceptionally well for yours truly. Shot a 42.
It was bloody.
I shot a 42, and I'll tell you, here's the thing. First off, it was great. Thanks to Mad World for having us out. Because we had a really good time. That's a cool place.
It is.
And Lonzo, I have to tell you on the air, and this is for me more than our listeners, I'm kind of bummed that you left before we were all done, because they took us behind the scenes into their prep room where they do all the makeup and they have all the costumes and props and tools of the trade. And they first off, they kind of showed us some of the new surprises they're going to have for their guests this year. They had makeup artists in there that were practicing the makeup, like getting the horror creatures ready.
You know why I left?
It was cool.
The reason why I left
because you were bleeding all over the place.
Well, no, because we had already played through our 18. You were still finishing yours up, and I didn't think they were going to stay. They opened up for us to just come there. So I thought,
it was literally just us. We had the whole place to ourselves.
So I believe when you guys were done, or when you were done playing around, that they were just, because everybody else had left. A ton of people left. So I'm just like, I'm waiting around, and it's like, I'd already had one conversation with the big boss, which made me uncomfortable because I don't like to talk with people in power. I was afraid I'd have to have another conversation. It's like, nah, I'm not. No, everybody else was gone. So I thought it would be over when you guys were done. And I knew that you had already won because I watched a couple holes, and there was no doubt. But there was no doubt going into it because you had an unfair advantage, so you were going to win. And so I missed out on all the cool stuff. That sucks.
You missed out on some really cool stuff.
I have been through that world before, and I will tell you, it is worth the money. It is an excellent place to go for entertainment, especially if you're into scaring, or let's say you're taking that person out on the first date and you want them to be a little clingy, and you're not sure they're going to be a little clingy. You get in there, and you're going to get they're going to want to be close to you for protection. So it's a thing to do.
Dude, we had a blast. So they took us in the back room. They had people back there practicing the makeup, people in the costumes and all that. They let us kind of hang out, play. We got to play with some of the props. I got to play with a big Harley Quinn mallet for a minute. Like
how heavy was that thing? I've seen it before.
It was not light. Like Kevin and I both picked it up, and we're like, whoever gets stuck in this character is gonna lose some lbs by the end of November when they shut that.
Kevin's kind of skinny though, so I can get that from him.
No, I still got it. I'm a hefty fella, okay. And it was. But no, it was very cool. So thanks to Mad World for having us out. But for those of you that asked, listen, here's what I'll tell you. We didn't keep score. Nobody kept score except me. Me, the lady friend, Kevin, and his lady friend kept our scores as we were playing.
They wouldn't let me play with them. So I mean, I had to go.
That's not true.
Yeah,
we were finishing it up our food truck tacos when you and the rest of the Zoe clan decided, yeah, we're done waiting, let's just go, and just took off, which was fine. Also, ladies and gentlemen, today, coming up in a few minutes, Lonzo experienced food truck tacos for the first time yesterday. He refuses to give me his review of them. He said he will not talk about them off the air. So coming up at some point in the show today, probably during a very extended Fanboy Friday this afternoon, you're going to get Lonzo's review of his first time knocking down food truck tacos.
Rob hates spoilers, and I'm very hard to read, so he has no idea what I was going to say.
None at all. Shot a 40 on the putt-putt. Here's what I'll tell you. For those of you that are going to go play Mad World putt-putt, and I encourage you to. It was very cool. We had a lot of fun. The course is tight, all right? It's tight. There are some big open holes, but then there are some spots where there's walls right up against the hole. So you got to putt left-handed. If you're a righty, you got to kind of wedge yourself up into an awkward position and putt. They definitely made it challenging. I'll put it this way. It's like they designed it so that dad can't go out and wreck his 8-year-old kid, just by being a better putter. Because there's a handful of spots that you find yourself in some very, very tight spots. But shot a 42. Pretty happy with a 42 overall, honestly. I mean, a 36 would be averaging 2. I had 2 hole-in-ones throughout the night. One of them was an honest hole-in-one. One of them I left it about a 1/4 inch off the lip of the cup, and the lady friend's first shot knocked it in for me. So I'll take a 1 there. I wasn't unhappy. I would have beat the big boss. I could tell he was in the group behind me. I would have beat him. I'd have beat his son. I did beat everybody in our group. I watched Snowman 3 holes. I'm relatively sure I would have beat Snowman. I'm pretty sure I wrecked everybody, but they didn't have any way for us to keep score outside of typing into our own phone. And I'm pretty sure I'm the only competitive junkie that actually did that.
No, Cameron. My son kept track.
What did he shoot?
51.
Okay, that's in the ballpark. Is it a game?
Yeah. So
got him by 9.
I started to, and then I realized that it just wasn't going to work for me because I lost too much blood before the.
It was
before
going woozy.
I was a little lightheaded a few times, and it's like, and then halfway through the course, there is some flashing lights on one of the places, and I just stood there with my hair down just for a while, looking as freaky as I possibly could, and very disappointed that no one was looking. To the point where my daughter said, "Dad,
stop being weird.
Dad, no one's watching. Come on, can we move on?" But I was enjoying the moment. It was pretty cool.
I gotta tell you, I had 2 people attempt to jump scare me throughout the evening. Neither of them were able to get me, only because y'all need to learn corners and angles, man. Like I can see you. I know where
I could have done it. But you say you don't like it, so I didn't do it. I did.
Going after Snowman. I was going after Snowman. I should have known better. But I would like to point out that before we even started, Lonzo walked over to say something to me and Snowman, and I turned real quick to say something to him. And I startled Lonzo, which is not the point of the story. The point of the story is Lonzo had the fist balled up and at chin level, ready to sock me in the grill for the most minor of startling jump scares, and now my dude's telling me he's going to start intentionally jump scaring me when he was about ready to knock my chiclets down.
I was going to say, I don't get your point. So if we did a jump scare war, what's going to happen?
I don't get punched in the face, apparently.
I told you I'm from a bad neighborhood. I told you some of the school stuff. You got to be prepared. If someone jumps at you where I'm from, defend yourself or you're probably hurt or dead. So,
Well,
I mean,
the point is, not a fun conversation when if I win, I get my front two teeth knocked out again.
I'm not going to do that, but I could have, first the heist was completed without Rob knowing that we took the butter.
You had accomplices,
Oh,
which is crap.
The accomplice asked me. It was her idea. So I just went along with it. And he's getting angry even now. Where it was laying.
Mrs. Lonzo Jr., you have started a thing. I just need you to know that. All right, we are late. Let's get our lunch breakdown started. What do you say? Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
Stathakis said in the chat, I missed the opening of the show. Who won? I did. If you didn't keep your own score.
Because Rob was going to win the whole thing.
And he did. And he did. Item number one on the lunch breakdown, the NBA had a list come out earlier in the week, as voted on by 10 NBA scouts and executives with inside access, voting on an off-season survey where they took votes on the biggest deals, the best players, who they think is the 2020 title holder, just a bunch of NBA players. And they asked on this poll, who is the best player in the NBA heading into the 2021-2022 season? Lonzo, 10 execs, what players got how many votes for the best NBA player heading into the 2021-2022 season? Stab in the dark.
What? Who's number one, number two?
I'll tell you what. 2 players got 5 votes apiece. Who are they?
Giannis and LeBron?
Close. Giannis is one. Kevin Durant was the other. After Antetokounmpo powered the Bucks to an NBA title, and Durant followed his incredible performance against Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference semifinals, where he single-handedly carried his Nets, and then he went abroad to win a gold medal 4 straight for the United States. He took half of the votes on the other side. Those who favored Durant had a compelling argument. His ongoing status as the league's most complete and dominant offensive force. One exec said that they think he is possibly the greatest offensive weapon that the NBA have ever seen. A Western Conference scout said, quote, I think he's the best scorer in the league. I don't think it's close, and he's pretty good defensively too. The things he's able to do offensively are generational, and I don't know how you can stop him. Another executive from the East talked about Giannis and said, quote, people love to focus on his faults, but he's a hell of a player. He's unlocked a different cheat code at both ends that give him the spot. You can certainly argue for Durant and LeBron, but between injury and age, can they consistently do it? Well, LeBron did not take too kindly to that. He tweeted out from his Twitter account at King James, quote, thank you, as if I didn't need more to gas me, hashtag washed, and then crown emoji, as if he is coming to reclaim his position. LeBron, not super thrilled, got precisely 0 votes out of the NBA poll for best player into the 2021-2022 season. And I will say this, Zoe, I am a big Bron guy. It does blow my mind that he did not get a single vote. I disagree with him not getting a single vote, but it's like it doesn't shock me, right? I didn't read that and go, what?
Well, I think the question is, will this incarnation of LeBron James, this aged ex-champion, will truly be motivated? We've seen when he's been motivated in the past. Now, he may be motivated, but will his body allow him to do something with that motivation?
Like if you voted against LeBron as best in the league because he's old, you're not watching. You ain't watching. LeBron carried that team by himself into the playoffs last year. Yeah, they got wiped, but he was by himself. All right. If you did not give LeBron a vote solely because he's mid-30s, you didn't watch. I'll take LeBron mid-30s over the majority of the guys in the league. Item number 2 in the lunch breakdown. I told y'all it's probably a breakout comeback season. Cam Newton last night. Lonzo, you watched a little bit of that.
Yeah, I recorded it because I knew we were going to be out. So I watched it this morning, and I watched well into the third quarter. And Cam Newton looked good. He looked elusive. That's the thing. Philly was getting some penetration, and he just did the shoulder shrug thing, just taking a few steps, didn't take off running, and was completing the passes. Looked really good. Looked like he's ready to go. Looked like Cam of maybe the beginning of last season, because if you remember the beginning of last season, he looked pretty good in an offense he wasn't familiar with, and he got COVID and everything went downhill after that. I think he looks good. Now, we're going to find out, but this is vanilla defenses, vanilla offenses, but still, I mean, all the people saying he's done, you're just haters.
Look out. Look out.
And Mac Jones, he didn't look horrible.
I just looked vanilla for a vanilla package in a vanilla preseason game.
But you can see the difference when Philly's defense got in on Mac Jones. Cam would have gotten away from that stuff, and Mac Jones could not.
You described him when you came in this morning. We talked about it as looking elusive, and I think that's exactly the right word. And it's exactly the right word. Cam looked back inside the pocket like Cam of old. Cam looked back inside the pocket like a guy who recognized where he was. Cam looked when he was back inside the pocket like a guy who was tough to get a hand on.
He also has some good receivers, and from what I understand, his starting tight ends did not play. So and we know from his time with the Panthers that he loves the tight end.
Yeah.
You get those guys.
Used them last night too.
Yeah, with blocking and getting open. Plus, we know they're going to be more than likely still going to be a run-first kind of offense because they're just that way. It mixes things up a lot, and I'm looking forward to this. Even though I'm not a Patriots fan, I'm definitely a Cam fan, and I think he starts, and I think he does well.
I think you're right. Item number 3 we're going to hit when we come back because it was announced by Jeff Passan of ESPN last night. Dude, huge news if you are a baseball card fan. If you still collect cards, this almost got moved to a Fanboy Friday segment, but I think this is actually a historically significant moment. Talk about that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
Golf cart.
Golf cart, that's what it was. The 2021 Upstate Golf Card is available now. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 9 rounds of golf, $99. 9 of the most prestigious courses in the area, $99. Less than $15 a round, less than $1 a hole. $99 gets you 9 beautiful rounds of golf on 9 beautiful courses around the area. But you got to get yours now. They will sell out, especially as we get closer to the end of the year. The weather is going to start cooling off. The fall in the South Carolina upstate is as beautiful as anywhere in the country. You're going to want to get out and play some afternoon rounds. You're going to want to get out and play some weekend rounds. So get your card now so that you can start getting them scheduled. You can start getting yourself ready to get out there and run it around a little bit. Go to upstategolfcard.com, upstategolfcard.com, and get yours now. It is the 2021 Upstate Golf Card.
Christopher Bell, Michael McDowell, and Eric Almirola. There are a bunch of drivers that if they come away with the victory this weekend would lock in a spot into the 16-driver playoff field. Kevin Harvick is the active driver who has won the most at Michigan. He has 5 wins there, while Joey Logano, Kurt Busch, and Kyle Larson have each won there 3 times. Denny Hamlin and Ryan Newman each have 2 wins at Michigan. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts. So
Have you ever entered a contest hoping you would win just so you could refuse it?
No, but I need to know what it is that you're trying to turn
Have you
down.
seen the Odyssey internal announcement?
I have not.
I
I don't have
think.
the email open here.
Yeah, it just came at 11:38. You had a chance to
We're
win trips
overrating
somewhere.
the Patriots here, right? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. A 48% chance to beat the Bucks, a 60% chance to beat the Saints. Like, are we on the hype train a little bit because of Hoodie?
I don't entirely disagree with it.
Really?
Because we don't know what.
A 50-50 split with the Bucks.
Who's your quarterback? With the Bucks, that's a vengeance
A
thing.
50-50
That is a
split.
vengeance thing. And if there's a quarterback who understands how to stop Tom Brady, or a coach that understands how to stop Tom Brady, it would be Belichick. But as far as the Saints, which is really what you're mad about,
No, that one I
we
understand.
just don't know.
I don't. Right. That's fine. But a 48% chance to beat the Buccaneers. Get out of here with that. A 50-50. You're saying it's a toss.
It's not 50. 48 is not
toss-up
50.
game.
It's percentages. 2%
It's
is
a coin flip where one side of the coin is 3 atoms heavier.
Sure. Show me that commercial and make me want to go see that tonight. If Cam plays the way he did last night, the team that really needs to be worried is Buffalo.
You're not wrong.
Because your brief time on top may be over. Relegated back to second place.
Susanna Hoffs is on Twitter.
Is she really?
Yeah. I had a huge crush on Susanna Hoffs back in
I
the
thought
day.
she would have been a little old for you, but I mean, yeah.
I mean, she
get
was
it.
in the Bengals. She was old when I was a child.
She was the Bengals. She
That's
wasn't,
true,
but I mean, when you think Bengals, you think her.
But considering like half of her posts are posts of her when she was young. I just found out that Susanna Hoffs of the Bengals is on Twitter, and yes, my day just got significantly better. Who was your childhood crush, Zoe? That I wasn't gonna count it.
No, I can't. The fact that I didn't hear my breath let me know that I wasn't on the air, because that's it's a hard question to answer. I actually liked Julie from Love Boat. I think her name was Julie. Whoever the daughter on Love Boat was.
The Love Boat.
The daughter, for some reason, I don't know why. But I was a little kid then. So when you're saying crush, do you mean pre-puberty or after?
Just your childhood crush. I have 2: Susanna Hoffs, Martina McBride. Those are my 2.
I was fond of Susanna Hoff, actually.
We were all fond of Susanna Hoff. All of us.
Joan Jett.
Joan Jett.
Yeah.
Oh, up there in front of the Blackhearts.
Yeah.
Not a bad one either. I don't know how or why it came up. But just a second ago, I was flipping through Twitter and the video for the Bengals in your room came up. And I opened it and I was like, man, Susanna Hoffs was an absolute smoke show. I had the biggest crush on her. And then it was like, would you like to follow Susanna Hoffs? Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Can we come up with a different name for follower? Because I just realized when I say it in that context, it sounds very creepy.
There's some stalker-like qualities to it, but you know, you're just a fan.
Social media, man. Social media.
Wait, there she is now. I just happened to look, and she is aged well.
Oh yeah. Hey, by the way, I didn't know this until literally right now, Lonzo. Happy National Radio Day.
Yeah, I saw someone post that because I have a lot of radio friends. I saw someone post that earlier. Someone who's been in the business over 40 years.
And you didn't think to tell me?
Sorry,
No is the answer.
Sorry. Yes, happy National Radio Day. I have been in radio 24, 25 years. Okay, it's a little iffy. Once you get over a couple of decades, you just stop counting.
No, Susanna Hoffs did not play for the Bengals. She played guitar for the Bangles, B-A-N-G, as in the bracelets that your girlfriend wears. Bangles.
She walked like an Egyptian.
Not the Bangles. There's the Bangles, and then there's the Bangles.
Which that video is what made a lot of people fall in love with Susanna Hoffs.
That one in your house.
Yeah, but see, just the way she would say, walk like an Egyptian, and then she just made this look on her face. It was like, okay, I would like to marry her.
Susanna Hoffs had a way of flirting with the camera. She has a look that is referred to as by many bedroom eyes. There's another term for it that's not FCC friendly. Susanna Hoffs had that look. Had that. She could give that those bedroom eyes into the camera. And like even as like a 7-year-old kid, I was like, why do I feel so funny? I think I'm in love with this woman. And we all were. And on top of that, chicks who play their own guitar are hot. It's just hot, all right? And ladies, don't tell me this is sexist. There's a reason your boy learned how to play a guitar in high school. There's a reason. We know. And it works the other way around, too. It absolutely does work the other way around.
I don't know. Some guys might be intimidated by that.
Shoot. Susanna Hoffs wanted to play guitar with me. I'd let her. All right.
There's always that opportunity. You never know. You never know. She may roll into town.
I got to tell you, if the Bengals are on tour still and the Bengals come to town and there are radio interviews to be done with Susanna Hoffs, Lonzo, they'll have to add another sheet of plexiglass sideways. All right.
We'll have to find a way to spin it towards sports, but we could do that.
Texter says ESPN, Crystal Gale. Crystal Gale.
That's probably an older listener.
I'm guessing. Absolutely an older listener. And I don't say that in a disrespectful way. Crystal Gale, as a young lady, was a looker. Without a doubt. I think I do have to tell you, and I'm gonna disappoint you here, Texter. I think I'm gonna have to go listen to some Crystal Gale music because I don't think that I know a lot of it. I don't think that I know a lot of Crystal Gale music. I'm trying to think. I don't think I have anything off the top of my head.
We'll say, don't look at me for country because you're not getting it.
Well, she apparently did some crossover stuff too. She did some like country rock kind of stuff. 1983, her album Cage the Songbird was the first to be produced entirely by Jimmy Bowen. Peaked at number 5 on the top country albums chart, number 71 on the Billboard 200. Among its singles were the crossover hits The Sound of Goodbye and Turning Away. She would also release number 1 hit Straight to the Heart and Cry. The latter was a song originally recorded by Johnny Ray. In 1983, she would also record the theme song for the television series Masquerade. Don't know it.
Yeah, it doesn't help me any. I know who she is. Joseph on the stream says, had the biggest thing for Shirley Manson from Garbage.
Wow.
She has a unique look to her.
ESPN, Debbie Gibson.
I get that. That's also aged. When she was doing.
She's only 50, so.
No. I'm saying that was right around. She's just a couple years younger than me. So yeah.
I ain't mad about that.
So some of my friends who were sophomores in high school at the time were really into Debbie Gibson.
You want to know how? All right, so here's how I know this show's for everybody. Because on one hand, we get texters that are saying Crystal Gale and Debbie Gibson, and the next texter says Shannon Elizabeth, hands down. You know who Shannon Elizabeth is?
I know the name.
Shannon Elizabeth was the actress that was in American Pie. She played the foreigner in American
I
Pie.
never watched American Pie. So.
Yeah, I was going to describe the one scene from American Pie that made Shannon Elizabeth famous to those of us that were adolescents when American Pie came out. All right?
Yeah, I was probably 30 when it came out, so, you know.
Yeah, Shannon Elizabeth made herself very famous to those of us that were adolescents about that age. And that's why he's on that list. Texter says ESPN, Faith Hill from the Breathe music video on CMT. Faith Hill was way up on the list for a lot of people. That was the one, if I recall correctly, where she was just kind of like rolling around in bed sheets, right? Like she just spent that music video in wrapped up in a bed sheet, and that was it. Like the entire lore of the video was, hey, Faith Hill's naked under the sheet, and you can't do anything about it. Just breathe, and that was it. But hey, look, I'm simply glad to know. I'm simply glad to know that Crystal Gale is Loretta Lynn's sister. Is that true?
Yes. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I only know some of these things because my mom watched Hee Haw, which was a mixed signal because she made us hate country, but still watched Hee Haw because it reminded her of home. So, I mean, yeah, Kentucky, yeah.
Texter says ESPN, Leanne Rhymes. Leanne Rhymes. Texter says Myra from Family Matters. Okay. All right. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can take you seriously. You know what? If you were a nerd though, Myra or Lisa, who are you going for? Who are you going for? I have to tell you, I can make the argument Myra was the one to go for there. Smart, successful, not a gold digger.
I was way too old at that point to.
You were not too old for Family Matters.
Yeah,
No, you weren't.
I was.
Dude, I was almost too young for Family Matters.
When the girls were old enough to
Be spoken about that way?
Yes, I was too old.
Family Matters was on the air through the late 90s, Lonzo.
Right. How old was I through the late 90s? I know it's a math thing again for me.
I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
Another texter says Jennifer Aniston. Yeah, Rachel, of course. And by the way, can I just say, and I want to be abundantly clear here, ladies, you're free to play this game too. I know we got some lady listeners out there. You guys are free to throw your submissions. When Steve Urkel turned into Stefan, tell me you didn't lose it for Stefan. You know Stefan.
I'm just waiting for some Uncle Jesse references.
John Stamos.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Stamos. Stamos is a dude
that
Stamos, your grandma had a crush on Stamos. Your mom had a crush on Stamos. Your wife has a crush on Stamos. And at the rate we're going now, your daughter's going to have a crush on Stamos. You can't tell me I'm wrong.
He's had a pretty good run.
He's had a great run. John Stamos and Paul Rudd, the men who don't age. Texter says Jennifer Aniston. Another texter says Rose McGowan. Another texter says Kelly from Saved by the Bell. Tiffany Amber Thiessen. I gotta tell you, I think everybody within 10 years of my age, forward or backwards, had a thing for Kelly Kapowski. But can we be honest with each other for a minute? Lonzo, Jessie Spano was the girl that you wanted to marry off that show. Kelly Kapowski was absolutely a looker. But if you were going to marry one of those girls, Jessie Spano was the one to marry. She was the one who was going to take you places. 100%.
I'm just recalling the
Showgirls.
No, that's not what I was going to. I was just going to talk about the Saved by the Bell reference at the Star Wars.
There was one.
That I didn't get.
There was one, and then they played the Saved by the Bell theme song, and then I started singing, and they cut the music out.
And then
right
continued singing.
And then Saved by the Bell, and I just kept going with it to the point that the entire room got quiet.
Again, if you're going somewhere with Rob, be prepared because everyone's going to look at you at some point.
Texter says Jennifer Love Hewitt and Amanda Bynes. Jennifer Love Hewitt, absolutely on the list. Absolutely on the list.
I know what you did last song.
Yeah, Jennifer Love Hewitt, way up on the list. Jessica Simpson from Dukes of Hazzard. No, Not because she wasn't attractive, but because that reality show made her look intolerable.
I don't watch reality
I don't
shows,
either.
so, yeah.
But you couldn't escape. I know it's chicken to the same. Is it chicken or is it fish? Is it chicken or is it fish? I'm out. I can't have a conversation with you.
So Mike on the stream is mentioning someone that you and Diesel have heard speak of fondly many times, and I still don't know who it is.
And that is
Topanga.
Topanga. So Topanga, Boy Meets World.
Never watched one.
Oh, Topanga, Danielle Fisher.
Way out of my demo.
Topanga was Texter just says Topanga too. Topanga with the back-to-back votes. All right.
Whenever you and Diesel say that, you just have this look on your face
Topanga.
like
She might be on top of the power rankings here, pal.
it's a bit weird.
Topanga. You know why? Because not only was she an absolute looker, but like Diesel and I go for the same type of chick, which is like super independent chick, right? Don't need a man. You know why? Because if they're a super independent chick and they keep around, that means they want you around. They don't need you around. My lady friend doesn't need me around. She wants me around, and you can tell. If they didn't want me around, I wouldn't be around. Topanga was the ultimate, I don't need you around, I want you around girl.
If you are a psychiatrist or psychologist, feel free to text in what this is called that Rob is experiencing now about needing the independent woman. It's probably called something. I don't know.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. I just would like to know the scientific term for it.
844-477-3776, 844-GSP, ESPN. Hurricane Jeff says Janet Jackson. Texter says, my son said to text his in Gal Gadot or Godot. Is it just Godot, right?
It's Godot.
It's Godot. That's what I thought.
I always thought it was Godot.
Somebody corrected me the other day and said it's Godot. And I was like, I don't know, man. Either way, I love that there is a kid who's like, Dad, I need Rob Brown to know that Gal Gadot is the correct answer. And let me tell you, young man, that's a good answer.
I hear the Wonder Woman theme in my head right now.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. All right. Text in, who was your celebrity crush when you were a kid? I don't know why we're doing this. Lonzo, the text line is full. Women, ladies, gals, you are allowed to play the game too. My mother has got, just so you know, I'm an equal opportunity. My mother has mentioned her Sam Elliott. I'm not even mad about that. Not even mad about
Roadhouse, a lot of other things, and meat. It's what's for dinner.
Now, when we come back, stick around, y'all. There's more of the Rob Brown Show coming up right here on ESPN Upstate.
Well done.
Myra from Family Matters with another vote.
By the way, real quick, hi, so have fun on the trip. They were going to Ohio for a wedding. Last chick, they were already in Kentucky. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, they left pretty early.
I was going to say, they left today?
Yeah, they left around 6:30
They're
or so.
hauling, huh?
Yeah, they are. It takes between 8 to 10 hours to get there
To
to Columbus or
Columbus.
fairly close to Columbus. Yeah.
So, would it be worth it to drive to Ohio State for a game one weekend?
Here's my problem. Well, it would absolutely be worth it, but I don't go home very often because I've developed anxiety going through the mountains to the point where I can't drive.
So you're
I
traveling to
can't.
South Carolina.
I can't. And my mom's like, "When are you coming home?" I mean, also my ears closed, and they're closed for a couple of days
Right.
afterwards. And some speculated
Can't
that
equalize the
that
price.
it's an inner ear problem
Right.
causing anxiety also. But I mean, because they used to be afraid like this, and it's not. It's just I can't. I just lock up. I can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's not good while you're
That's
driving.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I have to get in the back seat and put something over my head and like watch a movie or something to get past it. I don't, and it ticks me off because I should not be. But that's how anxiety is. You can't just say
control
you can't
anxiety.
just say I am not going to be anxious because it doesn't work that way.
And you won't fly.
No. Well, if I'm not in trouble in mountains, think what would happen if I got to play. And I'm not afraid to be on a ladder or anything like that. So it's just I don't know. I think it has to do with some sort of the pressure on my ears. Just got me a brand new ladder. Gonna be doing some ladder work this weekend.
Susanna Hoffs.
Tracy says Michelle Rodriguez.
That's a good one, too. Darth Chosen says Christina Ricci as a kid and now. I'm not about that either.
I've always liked Christina Ricci. I don't know if you liked her when she was in Addams Family. That could be kind of weird, but, depending on your age. But yes, a trip to the Horseshoe would be awesome. One of the coolest things I got to do was state track meet was at Ohio State University. Unfortunately, I tore all the ligaments in my ankle, so I didn't get the pole vault there, but my cousin did. So he got to see his name up on the scoreboard and everything when he pole vaulted. And even though I was in a cast, I caught the pole for him when he.
That's awesome.
He cleared a couple heights. He didn't, he didn't place or anything, but still, just being able to see your name up there. Even though it wasn't my name, it was my cousin's name. It was one of my best friends growing up. Being able to see his name up there. He was better than me anyway, so I probably wouldn't go get my name up there. He was also 50 pounds lighter, which kind of helps on the pole vault. It's not weird, Stephen, because a lot of people have said that. And Mike says Sable. A lot of people have said that too. Stephen said Jessica Rabbit.
All right, yeah.
She's not bad. She was just drawn that way.
Some of y'all are gonna. I almost regret this because some of y'all are gonna start making this weird. This young lady right here is an absolute stud. She's been making the boys look.
And if you're gonna do it, you got to go straight up pigtails, like what she's doing.
She Pippi Longstock into all of them. That little kid's got a curveball. Oh my word! Like I know there's one dude that tried to make it weird by saying mine was John Stamos. Do you understand that I would accept that as an answer? John Stamos is a handsome man. It is unfit. John Stamos, Freddie Freeman, Hugh Grant. There's like a list of dudes that it's unfair that they are both as talented as they are and also get to be that good looking. You should have to pick one.
Good for them, though.
Good, great for them. You kidding me? This is not from a place of jealousy. It's a place of support.
Maybe a little bit of jealousy.
Maybe a lot. Texas says, are we getting weird? Audrey from Disney's Atlantis. Another person says, okay, I'm going to get weird. I know, but what guy didn't have a crush on Jessica Rabbit? All right, and we're not going to do animated cartoons. So go ahead and kill this. I thought we were having a good segment there. Thought we were having some fun on a Friday.
Maybe he's just in love with her voice.
That's it.
Which was Kathleen Turner, I think.
I don't actually know, to tell you the truth. Voice of Jessica Rabbit was Kathleen Turner. How about that? Who Framed Roger Rabbit? One of the greatest movies of all time, by the way.
Trivia,
Still
baby.
holds up. Still holds up. All right, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP. ESPN is the number. Coming up in the 1 o'clock segment, right at the top of the hour, Corey Diaz is the brand new writer for the Greenville News. He is over in Columbia, where he is there to cover the Gamecocks of South Carolina, and he is going to join us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate to A, introduce himself, B, talk a little bit about what he has seen in the last month. Corey Diaz coming up at 1 o'clock. Then at 2 o'clock this afternoon, we're going to bring back the boys from Moving the Chains. Kevin Thomas, John Epps will be joining us to talk high school football as week 0 gets its start this evening. High school football around the upstate. John Epps and Kevin Thomas from Moving the Chains will join us to break down all the games in our area this evening. At 2 o'clock at 2:20, it's Fanboy Friday, where Lonzo and I talk movies, television, wrestling, and I got a story that is you're going to get to listen to Lonzo have an existential meltdown. You're going to hear it.
Yeah, well, it's not unusual. I've melted down on these airways before. And don't forget, tonight, 7 o'clock, the very first Burns game of the season.
Week 0, we'll get Kevin and John to break down Burns Week 0 matchup. Let's take a break, though. When we come back, Rob Manfred. You know what I don't like about Rob Manfred, aside from most of his decision? The fact that he is so obtuse, he doesn't even realize when he's saying things that are opposite as he's saying them. I'll tell you what I mean when we come back on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate. When I worked in TV news years ago, one of the big lessons that our news director would tell us is when you're on the air, speak with your regular voice. Talk the way you talk when you're talking to somebody, right? He didn't like the announcer voice. And so there's some people that have the ability to do it. And then there are other people that as soon as there's a camera on them, they have to start talking like this. I can't explain the phenomenon, but once a camera is turned on to a news person, their entire inflection changes the way they present their words. It's very weird. And it's like they won't even catch and recognize that they're doing it.
And then
we've
we've got some guys in this building who you think, man, that is not their real voice.
Yeah.
A certain news guy comes to mind, but that is his real voice.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. If that's your real voice, fine. But I agree with you. There's people that try to use a totally different voice when they're on the air, and they're not doing an impersonation. That's a totally different thing. There are people I'm like, why are they doing that for? Just talk like you normally do. Your regular voice is awesome. What are you doing?
We are going to do clip 2 and 2B if we have time here.
All right. We should.
Because I know one of those clips is like a minute long.
Well, 2B. Yeah, it's like a minute 20. I am bummed I didn't get to see the behind the scenes stuff.
Oh, dude, it was cool. It was cool.
Because I love all that stuff. I have a cousin who does makeup and stuff and works in haunted houses and things. And
there was like one lady in there and she had the air gun, the like spray gun. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like the airbrush gun. And she was doing a girl up like the what was her name? The demon princess from the first Suicide Squad. The one that has they made her look like that. And it was like I turned the corner and I was like, oh, that's freaky. That's cool. Like it was spot on. They had another guy that was a clown and she had like blood coming out of his ears and stuff. It was legit really cool.
And I hesitated. I waited. I started to wait around just to see what you ended up with and if I would have done that. But instead, I left and I went the back way home listening to Chris Jericho's podcast talking about the Mothman. And there's a couple of times where
diving into cryptozoology.
He does a lot of that stuff. And I was like, why am I listening to this as I'm driving through cornfields on roads that I don't believe I've ever been on before? While they're talking about going on roads that they've never been on before to get back to where the Mothman was supposedly spotted. It was
kind of felt underwhelmed by his loss to MJF. Didn't seem like it had the weight of the moment on it.
Told you he's going to lose. Because he's going on tour. His band's going on tour.
All right, real quick, going to run through these 2 clips, and I want you to see if you catch what I caught the moment I listened to them. We're going to start with clip 2. This is Rob Manfred talking about keeping the extra innings rules in place moving forward.
The extra inning rule, I think people really like the extra inning rule. I think it's a good, I think it's a good change for our game. 18 innings. There's not a ton of people who really want to see, that many extra innings.
Do you think it's good because it creates guaranteed action and the fan base likes that?
I think it makes it like overtime in other sports, right? You have a much better idea about when that action is going to take place. And, for the casual fan in particular, you might capture them with the enticement of knowing, wow, I know when this game's going to be decided.
So there's Rob Manfred saying that the extra innings rule, which is a runner starts on second base, might be kept because fans like that it cuts down from 18 innings. Clip 2B, here's Manfred talking about 7-inning doubleheaders going away.
Those rule changes, like every other kind of aspect of changing the game, are a product of collective bargaining. So they're not really exclusively in our control. But let me say a word about each of those changes.
Sure.
The 7-inning doubleheaders, you're right, was a COVID thing. It worked really well last year when, our experts were telling us don't keep your players together very long. It was a really good idea. What happened this year that has made it more controversial and less embraced by some in the game is split doubleheaders, right? I mean, last year, all the doubleheaders were traditional doubleheaders because we had no fans, right? So, we were just playing 2 games and we played 14 and, instead of 18. Okay, that's fine. Now, this year, the problem is, Rob Manfred and his 3 children, you're going to a game and, you invest a bunch of money in tickets. There's a rain problem. Not only do I move you to a different day, but now you're getting 7 innings instead of 9 innings. I don't love that. I mean, that's a problem.
Yeah, for the fans. The players may like it, but yeah, we get complaints every day.
All right, you can go and cut it for me, Zoe. And here's why, besides the fact that we're running out of time. I would like, ladies and gentlemen, to give you Rob Manfred's 2 arguments that he just made. Lonzo, people like extra innings rules, which is the runner starting on second base in extra innings, right? People like the extra innings rules because it doesn't force them to watch 18 innings of baseball. But then his second argument was they're going to go away from 7-inning and back to 9-inning doubleheaders because people want all 18 innings of baseball. Do you want what?
Which one is it? I don't know.
Get rid of the runner on second or keep the runner on second in extra innings because people don't want to watch 18 innings of baseball, but we're going to go back to 9 innings doubleheaders because people want all 18 innings of baseball. Do you understand why Rob Manfred is the worst commissioner at this level? Ladies and gentlemen, there's his arguments right there, right there. He literally contradicted himself in the same interview. Hour number 2 next on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
You calling us or are we calling him?
We are calling him. And I am going to mute the stream. Garcia, former Gamecocks quarterback, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. Obviously, you guys, as former players who genuinely love and care about this program, had discussions about the coaching search while it was going on. Can you give us a little bit of insight into some of those discussions that maybe were the reason that Shane Beamer is the head coach?
Yeah, I'm not sure if we had any influence at all. I'd like to think we did, but, who the hell knows? But I don't think it hurt. Having, myself, and I saw Melvin Ingram, I saw DJ, I saw Devontae Howell, I saw all these guys. Literally every single one of my former teammates had nothing but positive things to say on.
Hey, Corey, this is Lonzo with the Rob Brown Show. Rob set up an interview with you. Nothing much. We have about 45 seconds, and then Rob will be right with you. Yep, hang on. Called me brother.
He's what was he, a wrestling guy? No, I don't think he is. Somebody else I met this weekend was a big wrestling guy.
Hopefully it's he may be watching, I don't know. Hopefully it's more of a wrestling brother than a Mark Ryan brother.
What I got out of his statement was he doesn't want one game going 18 innings, but 2 games going 9 apiece was fine, but maybe I heard him wrong. How many innings is 2 games if they're both 9 innings?
That'll be 18.
Okay, I just wanted to Just wanted to make
I know
sure.
math not the thing, but yeah, it's 18.
Not a big fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's.
Rob, I got a question. You think it would be South Carolina?
be overkill.
Yeah, I mean, because okay.
No, I think it would be warranted, as they only associate with champions, and we
are the head of the table
are
in
the head
South
of the
Carolina.
table.
Yeah.
Acknowledge us is all I'm saying. Speaking of acknowledging, this is what we in the radio business call a segue, ladies and gentlemen. We now acknowledge and welcome to the table the newest member of the Greenville News, a young man I had the pleasure of meeting in person for the first time last Sunday over in the great city of Columbia, South Carolina. He is going to be your beat reporter for the South Carolina Gamecocks moving forward. New to the area, new to the show, a friend off the air and on it. Corey Diaz joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Corey, my man, making the debut. What's up, big fella?
What's up, man? I kind of wish you would have played the, Y2J's debut on Monday Night Raw several years ago. I believe he surprised, what was it, The Rock in the Ring, I bet. Trying to have a championship-style debut on your show. That was a championship segue, I must say.
Listen to him. See, Corey figured out early that if you roll in here making references to professional wrestling off the get, you're going to stick around. And I respect that. My man knows how to rise to the occasion. Corey, I wanted to bring you in here, buddy, to start, just to let you introduce yourself to the folks here in the Greenville. Obviously, you're covering South Carolina for the Greenville News, but you're based over there in Columbia so that you have firsthand access to the team, to the squad. So I mean, dude, take a second, introduce yourself to the folks, let them know a little bit about, where you're from, how you got here, your connection to what the Gamecocks are trying to do right now, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure. Well, first off, man, in all seriousness, I appreciate you having me on, man, giving me the opportunity to just kind of come on, man, and obviously share some insight on the Gamecocks, as we get going here, just a couple of weeks till kickoff. But look, a Montgomery, Alabama native. I've spent my entire life, within the confines of the SEC geographical footprint, in the cultural footprint. I've been in tune for almost 34 years now into kind of what makes this league tick and go, and what makes it. I don't think it's a debate or an argument. I think it's it's the best league in college football, and arguably, top to bottom, one of the strongest leagues in any sport. From there, I attended the University of Alabama, went through journalism school there, graduated in May of 2010. Did some prep sports just right outside of my hometown for about 4.5 years. And then was fortunate enough to get hired on at the Monroe News Star in Monroe, Louisiana, covering Louisiana Tech and Grambling State. An opportunity that I feel really blessed to have had. If you think about it, there's probably at some point in my 4+ years of covering sports out there that, I kind of stood in the same spot as one of the college football giants, Eddie Robinson, one of the winningest all-time coaches in this sport. That's an opportunity that, kind of in the moment you don't really think about. But now that I've been on this new job, been at this new beat for basically a month now. I think yesterday was my 1-month anniversary. When I think back on that, I just think that was a really, really cool opportunity. I got to tell some really cool and unique stories. And that's something that I plan on bringing to this beat too.
Corey Diaz is the newest man covering the Gamecocks here in the area. He is the beat reporter for the Greenville News. Based over in Columbia, he'll be joining us every single Monday now through college football season and into the foreseeable future to talk Gamecock football. I want to start with some of the abstract, Corey, and you've been here, like you mentioned, a handful of weeks now. You've been going to practices, you've been interacting with the coaches, etc. I want your thoughts on Shane Beamer, right? I mean, this is kind of interesting in that everybody I've talked to that's a Gamecock has been really high on Shane Beamer. Say he's a guy that it's easy to like, a guy that it's easy to get behind, a guy that inspires. I mean, the welcome home thing that he has created for South Carolina has been massive for them. In your interactions, and I know we're still in COVID protocol, so it's not been easy, but in your interactions with Shane Beamer and his coaching staff, what are your opinions so far?
Yeah, I think that's, it's really something that this program needed, especially when you think about the last 2 years of the Muschamp era here. There was a large faction of the fan base that was, even before he was fired, they were ready to see him go. I think that was something that was really high on South Carolina's priority list in terms of what the next head coach was going to look like and what they were going to bring to this football program and to the community as a whole. Man, I've been here in Columbia for about 3.5 weeks now, and just about everywhere I go, and I end up in a conversation with someone, whether they're wearing South Carolina gear or not. There's just a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of excitement, around the Shane Beamer era of South Carolina Gamecock football right now. I think it's, that's something that I think, if you were to spend some time with him personally, I think he would attest that to his dad, Frank. And, I've never personally dealt with him. I hadn't spoken to him yet. Hope to really soon. But, Frank kind of had that same demeanor about him. I think he kind of carried himself the same way. And I think that was something that Shane picked up from his dad. And when you spend time around his assistants as well, I really think there's a lot of really good hires that he made on this first staff. That's a big thing for a first year head coach, whether you're, coming on board and taking over an SEC program or a G5 program. If you can surround yourself with high quality assistant coaches, it kind of takes a lot off your plate personally. And I think Shane, I thought the Marcus Satterfield hire an offensive coordinator was a big get, a guy that was coming from the Carolina Panthers in the NFL. That's a big selling point when you talk about recruiting really good players and getting them into the fold. Clayton White, I think, is a really interesting guy. I'm really interested to kind of see how his defense unfolds as this season goes, because his scheme is going to be a little different with a 4-2-5. I mean, it's got a lot of 4-3 principles to it. There's going to be a lot of cases where there will be 3 linebackers on the field, but I think he's going to be able to utilize that nickelback position, and it's going to allow them some versatility and some ways to disguise things on the defensive side of the ball. And I think Eric Kimry, hiring a guy that's a hometown guy that played at South Carolina, you kind of need those guys on your first staff as well. And like I said, I think the city of Columbia is juiced right now. I think they're ready to see kind of what this is going to look like. But you have to give it to Shane, man. We heard the conjecture after, that my first day on the job was first day of SEC Media Days, and Shane was going that day. And, I remember hearing conversations with Paul Feinbaum, about how, I mean, this guy won the day. He was winning the offseason at that point, and I think he did finish. He finished the offseason in a really positive way. And, again, the last 2 years of that Muschamp era, I think this was something that this fan base and that the football program needed for sure.
Corey Diaz is the the Greenville News South Carolina Gamecocks beat reporter, making his debut here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Talk to me about what you've seen on the defensive side of the ball so far, Corey. I mean, I know that all the previews I've seen, they jump immediately into the offense, right? Luke Doty, is he going to be healthy? And in just a second, I'll ask you for an update on him. But we've seen questions about the offense and the running backs, et cetera. Very little talk about the defense, and especially after they lost to where they were expecting to be a big starting cornerback a couple of days ago in Karen Prunty. Talk to me a little bit about what development you're seeing out of that defense the last week and a half.
Yeah, I think it's still, very much a work in progress. We did spend some time with Clayton White yesterday after practice, and it kind of seems like, even with the departure of Karan Prunty, just a handful of days into camp, which I think was a big surprise to to everyone because, I mean, let's be honest, he was a freshman All-American at Kansas. He transferred in and the guy in the first 5 days of camp, the couple of times that we were out there, and had a media viewing period. I mean, the guy was working with, the first team. I mean, he was going to be the starting cornerback, and they got their other projected starting corner. Cam Smith is out right now with a broken foot. He's healing after having off-season surgery on it. Clayton told me, on report day that, Cam was going to be that other starting corner opposite Karan. So basically, when you think about their defensive backfield, they lost without both of their starting corners. And so, but it looks like, they've kind of settled in on a 5. Darius Russ is a guy that's kind of stepped up after Prunty exited the program. And right now, Marcellus Dial, a George Military College transfer, JUCO guy, he's come in and has probably had the best fall camp up to this point of anyone on the team. I think he is, he really took the opportunity with Cam Smith out, and he's crushed it so far. He's a guy that's caused, from what we have been told and kind of seen a little bit of, been causing turnovers almost every practice and really has a nose for the ball and is really instinctual and has great hips, and you kind of have to have that at the SEC level at the cornerback spot. And, another guy on the back end, RJ Roderick, a guy that's been in the program a while now. I think he's going into his senior year. And just yesterday, Clayton told us that he felt like he was having an all SEC, type fall camp. And, that's what this defense is going to need. It's going to need guys that maybe aren't household names at this point that are going to have to play a little bit over their head, right? We're talking about a defense that I believe ranked 13th out of 14 teams in total defense last year. Was not a great year. Now, of course, you could probably chalk that up to, playing 10 SEC games. I mean, that's tough for anybody to do. I mean, we saw the Alabamas and the Georgias of the world, struggle, week in, week out with putting up, consistent numbers on the defensive side of the ball. But, obviously we know this. Look, defense starts up front. And I think South Carolina, from a defensive line standpoint, probably has a top 5 defensive line in the league. When you consider, former 5-stars, Zach Pickens, Jordan Birch, you got guys like JJ, there on the defensive end spot. Aaron Sterling is a guy that the coaching staff on the defensive side of the ball at another end position have been incredibly high on, a guy that missed most of last year with an injury. He's back fully healthy, ready to go. So it's going to be interesting, man. I've had some conversations with some of my fellow beat writers and stuff. And, while there's a lot of questions on the defensive side of the ball at this point, kind of what we've seen and what we've heard, that this group is already, ahead of where it was last year. So, maybe it can get in some of these, 50-50 games and, make some plays on the defensive side of the ball and give itself a chance to, to win some games. Maybe a lot of people don't anticipate them winning.
Talking with Corey Diaz. He is the writer for the Greenville News over there in Columbia, covering the Gamecocks of South Carolina. Corey, look, we're going to be doing this again on Monday and then every Monday moving forward. So before we cut you loose and get you out of here, man, I just want to ask you, like, what's been the best part about being here? Both A, covering the team. What's it been like covering this new team in this new area? And B, what's it been like for you being over there in Columbia and finding your way around the upstate for the first time?
Sure. Okay. So, this was my first time I drove onto campus, a couple of weeks ago for report day. It was the first time I drove, to the football facility building. And I was surprised to see the facilities, that South Carolina has. Being an Alabama grad, I saw what Alabama, kind of has to offer. My dad was an Auburn guy. I've been to Auburn's campus a few times. So I've seen some of the other facilities, around the league. And I'll say, man, South Carolina, from a facility standpoint, I mean, it's up there with some of the best I've seen, and so when you think about recruiting from that aspect, I mean, there's not much that the Alabamas and the Georgias and the Texas A&Ms are, offering these kids, that's any different than what South Carolina is able to offer them. And so I was really blown away by that. I think it's just really, really impressive, kind of just what some of the external things that South Carolina has going for it. Now it's just a matter of, Shane and his staff, kind of piecing this thing together, man, and putting a product on the field that, is not only going to get people excited, but you got to go out there. I mean, this is a business. You got to go out there and you got to win games. So kind of the onus is on them now, from, now until, we start this thing in a couple of weeks and then get kind of heavy into the year. But from a personal standpoint, man, a great area. Columbia has been really surprising so far from a hospitality standpoint. I kind of mentioned earlier, almost every time I, go somewhere, I end up finding myself in a conversation with someone, and people are just so hospitable and so nice here. It's almost strange, moving here from Monroe, Louisiana, where, there was some hospitality there, but I don't think it was quite to the level of this. And so, I'm just excited to continue to get to know the area more and more with each passing day, week, and month, and get really, really ingrained in this community, and just really looking forward to being able to produce the type of content that I think our readers are looking for. Kind of some of the outside the box stuff. So I'm excited, man, to kick this thing off, and also excited for you guys to be able to bring me on every week, man. I'm looking forward to spending more time with you guys as this thing gets rolling.
100%. Going to be good times, man. Corey Diaz here he's actually over in Columbia, where he'll be covering Shane Beamer's crew for the Greenville News. You can read his stuff there. You can follow him on Twitter at Corey Diaz, CORYDIAZ_TGN is in the Greenville News. Follow him there on Twitter and check in with us every Monday at 1 o'clock as we talk Gamecock football. Corey, my man, it was a pleasure to meet you in person last weekend, buddy. Great to have you on the show. Looking forward to a lot of really good football talk over the year, my man.
Appreciate you, man. Like I said, looking forward to it, and let's rock and roll, and let's do it, man. I'm excited, so I appreciate you guys.
You got it, big dog. You got it. That is Corey Diaz. Again, you can find him on Twitter at Corey, CORYDIAZ_TGN. Welcome him, ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of the award-winning Rob Brown Show family. When we come back here in just a second, boy, howdy, do we have plenty more to get into. We'll make fun of Rob Manfred just a little bit. We got to get to that Draymond Green, Kevin Durant discussion as well. Coming up at 2 o'clock, Kevin Thomas and John Epps are going to join us on the show to talk high school football. You're listening to the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Wow. Harley, yeah. Harley Davidson of Greenville. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you. Let me clue you in. I mean, I know I've clued most of you in already, but if you have somehow missed out, worry not. I'm here to help. Harley Davidson of Greenville is here, not just to help you find a Harley, not just to pick out your Harley, but to get you on the back of the Harley Davidson of your dreams, ladies and gentlemen. They are here to get you ripping up and riding the roads of the upstate immediately, and they make the process crazy easy. Whether you are looking for that brand new 2021 Harley Davidson, that bike of your dreams with the perfect paint color, the perfect finish, the perfect rims, the perfect tires, the perfect engine upgraded, the perfect way to give you the perfect sound to go with the perfect look, or maybe you're just in the market for something to cafe cruise around and you're going to look pre-owned. Well, that's fine too, because Harley Davidson of Greenville has the largest pre-owned inventory in the upstate, and they have a bike that is perfect for your style and your life. Go to their website at upstateharley.com or check out their incredible showroom at 30 Chrome Drive. 30 Chrome Drive, right there in Greenville. See their incredible showroom. Get yourself hooked up and get to tearing up the roads with me all fall long. You think I'm not riding my Harley over to football games this summer or this fall? You don't know me. You should join me. Go to upstateharley.com. It's upstateharley.com.
You all right? You need some medical attention?
Bro, like, I feel like I just
Did you rip your
overshare on the stream, but like I feel like I just burped up stomach acid. Oh, that hurt.
I've done that before.
Oh,
Trust me, if you have, you would know. Why is that?
Returning to the Pistons on a 2-year, $10.4 million deal. The Hornets have agreed to a 4-year, $97 million contract extension with guard Terry Rozier. Josh Hart returning to the Pelicans on a 3-year, $38 million extension. Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. That's your Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders on ESPN Upstate.
Have you heard Offsides with Mark Ryan?
I have not. That's not true. I hear it every day.
What rivalry in college football doesn't happen annually, but should? We'll ask Brett Beard for his biggest surprises of the 2021 college football season. Plus, have sports ever cost you a relationship?
The Upstate is talking about Offsides with Mark Ryan. Now, 3 to 7 p.m. on ESPN Upstate.
Stop living with that awful joint pain. And don't let them tell you surgery is your only option. We're excited to tell you about QC Kinetics. Right here in Greenville and Asheville, QC Kinetics is the leader in biologic therapies, regenerative solutions that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints with no drugs, no surgery, no downtime. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, pain in your hips. Patients here are raving about getting lasting results from QC Kinetics. Call now to learn more. 864-448-3772. If you have chronic joint pain, don't assume the old treatments are the only treatments. Learn more about new biologic therapy options now available here. Restorative, regenerative treatments for joint pain. Finally, call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 864-448-3772. 864-448-3772. Get your life back without pain. 864-448-3772.
You know, there are a few people I've experienced who actually can capture snark in an email and are masters at it.
Who did it?
I'm not going to say because we're on the stream. But
okay, we're off the stream. We're on the stream.
I just wonder if the person that was directed at actually got what he did, because I definitely did. And having many interactions with him, I know that's what he's doing.
Keegan said that he hopes that you catch up on the boys while the family's traveling.
That is one of the plans, one of the things we're going to do. And they gone.
They gone.
They're somewhere in Kentucky right now. Kentucky,
they gone.
I think Kentucky is the longest state they have to go through, going the way they're going. So I think ETA was somewhere in the 3:00 hour. So, but they did stop for lunch. So. The granddaughter has now learned the wonders of chicken wings.
The wonders of chicken wings.
You know, as a child, you got to learn how to eat a chicken wing properly, because as a child, sometimes you think you could eat the bone too. You don't know till you try. Wait. Did you just spill something?
Uh-huh.
Do I need to go get towels?
No, I mean, it didn't get on anything important.
Can it head towards something important?
No, I don't think so. Most of it's on the floor. Here.
I smell it.
Now the rest of it's on the floor. I'll have to clean up the floor later. But nothing of any value will get wet.
Well, I'm sure in the next
my headphones in my ears.
In the next 10 minutes, it's going to be nice and sticky.
Yeah, I mean, again, I will get it. I'm a little busy at this particular moment.
Now, when these studios were designed, we were asked.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't spill anything because there's definitely no food or drink in here.
We were asked what we would like in the studios, and I had one thing that I wanted.
Paper towel holder.
No.
That would have been useful.
Cup holders. I wanted cup holders. Everyone. I think cup holders should be standard in any office.
Cup holders should be standard in anything,
and not just a. It needs to be a cup holder with a little depth to it, so you can't accidentally turn around and cause something to spill out of it. So it's got some stability to it. I don't know, like halfway down the cup or something.
I'm just saying that was unfortunate positioning. And the thing is, if Diesel finds out that happened, he'll be very upset.
Yeah, because he
is definitely the office police when it comes to food and drink in this room.
And
which I definitely don't have any.
And the reason why, and I'm just going to bust him out here. The reason why we get those emails on occasion that we're not allowed to have food.
Yep.
And
to go on the record and say I'm not capable of doing a 3-hour show without wetting the whistle. All right, it's not physically possible. All right.
That's why you bring things that have lids on them,
well,
like you normally do.
Usually do.
Just the first time, and look what happened.
First time.
I gotta stop. My knee started itching.
Let me grab clip number 3 if you don't mind. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Kevin Durant, Draymond Green sat down together. You all remember not too long ago when these two cats played together. I cleaned it up, Lonzo. You can trust me.
I trust no one completely.
You can trust me.
I'll be ready.
You can be ready, but I cleaned it up.
Okay.
All right. So a number of years ago, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, all together on the same Golden State Warriors team. And during a playoff series against the LA Clippers, Kevin Durant and Draymond Green got into a fight that was so intense they had to be separated by teammates. DeMarcus Cousins and Andre Iguodala had to literally split them apart from each other. The Warriors would go on to lose that game, would go on to lose that series. Adrian Wojnarowski said it was pretty much over because the teammates were, quote, loudly confronting Green, end quote, for his decision-making on the final play of the fourth quarter, one where he grabbed a rebound and dribbled the length of the floor before losing the ball as the buzzer sounded. Yahoo's Chris Haynes reported at the time that Draymond Green called Kevin Durant a B-word. It's a situation that the Warriors were unable to work through. Kevin Durant, of course, would end up splitting town, heading up to Brooklyn to join up with James Harden. Well, the two of them decided to get together and hash it out, talk a little bit about it on Draymond Green's newest podcast. Because honestly, if you don't have a podcast at this point, what are you doing with your life, right? So Draymond and Katie got together to have the conversation, and it sounded like this.
For my own personal sanity, because I've been getting my ass kicked ever since you left. So just for my own personal sanity, how much did our argument against the Clippers drive you to ultimately lead the Warriors?
It wasn't the argument. It was the way that everybody, Steve Kerr, act like it didn't happen. Bob Myers and tried to just discipline you and think that would put the mask over everything. I really felt like that was such a big situation for us as a group. The first time we went through something like that, we had to get that all out. I remember watching The Last Dance, and when Scotty didn't go into the game, the whole team in the locker room said, Scotty, that was up that you did that. We needed that. Mm-hmm. We just needed to throw all the shit out on the table and say, yo, Dre, hey, like that was up that we even had to go through that. Let's just wipe our hands with that and go finish the task. I don't think we did that. We tried to dance around it. I just didn't like how all of that, just the vibe between all of that, it just made it weird to me. And I'd rather us be who we say we are, family first, communication is key. Like we didn't show that, and that's what rubbed me the wrong way more than anything.
When we landed back from LA, I sat Hazel was sitting in the car for an hour and 45 minutes. They pulled me in that room at Signature for an hour and 45 minutes, and they tried to tell me, you need to apologize. And I told them, I'll talk to Kay, but y'all aren't going to tell me what I need to say.
Mm-hmm.
And, they went on for an hour and 45 minutes saying a bunch of bullshit. And ultimately, they realized, all right, we're not getting through to him. We're going to try again in the morning. And so we met the next morning, and they said, all right, you slept on it. You ready to apologize? And I told them right then and there, I said, y'all about to f this up. I said, the only person that can make this right is me and Kay.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing that y'all can do, and y'all are going to f this up. And in my opinion, they f it up.
I think so too.
And they told me right then and there, like, we're going to suspend you for this game. I laughed in their face, literally laughed in their face. And Bob said to me, he said, wow, that was not the reaction I was looking for or expecting. And I said, well, either I'm going to laugh in your face or I'm going to cuss you out. So you pick, I'm going to choose laugh. So I think what you're doing is funny, and so I'm going to laugh. And so it's interesting to hear you say essentially the same thing that I told them that day.
How you think they feel? First off, Lonzo, I told you I cleaned it up. You trust me.
There was one
that we both heard the first time.
No, there's even one this time that had me nearly pushing.
Okay.
So.
I thought we did all right. So they said that it wasn't Kevin Durant, it wasn't Draymond Green, it wasn't their pride, it wasn't their fight. It was the fact that the Golden State Warriors mishandled the situation. And I got to tell you, there may be some element of truth to that, right? There may be some element of truth to that they really it was. But I think I got to say that was Draymond Green and Kevin Durant's pride that stopped that from getting fixed, right? Like, I loved in the middle, Draymond's like, I told them I'll talk to Kay and we can work it out, but that's going to be the only way it gets fixed. And my thought, if I'm the journalist there, and it's Draymond's on show, there's nobody asking questions, but if I'm the journalist there, I'm going, then why didn't you do that?
Yeah, so is this when it happened?
Yeah.
Just now while you're talking about it now, or the night of, or sleeping on it and doing it the next day?
Yeah, I would be asking the question, why did it happen then? Right? If you got mad at Steve Kerr because these guys were looking, by the way, if two guys on my team are fighting it out, calling each other bees on the sideline loud enough for the rest of the world to hear it, yeah, I'm punishing those cats, right? Yeah, of course. Fine or win sprints or whatever y'all want to do. You're eating a fine for this. You're eating a punishment for this, of course. And if you guys want to work it out as men, that's great. That's great. That's awesome. But realistically speaking, I'm just kind of confused by this whole thing. It doesn't make any sense to me. It sounds to me like these two cats had their pride go too far. And we know KD's got pride issues. That's why that dude is always tweeting himself on burners accounts and then putting himself down so that he can build himself up. That's a pride thing. He's trying to build his pride. And if nobody will attack him to build it up, then he'll attack himself. I've seen it. It's an internet phenomenon where people want to be persecuted, so they will persecute themselves so that they can respond to it. And it's a joke.
Or there's a deep-seated need to have people come to your aid, to make you feel wanted.
Sure.
If people come to your aid. What it comes down to, they're blaming management instead of blaming each other. And they're the ones that got in the fight. They're the ones that needed to take care of it. And they didn't. And now that they're supposedly cool with it, well, it was all management's fault.
Yeah, that would be my my question, right? That would be my question, is if it was that easy, if this was a management fault, it was management, it was Steve Kerr, it was Bob Milton, it was all these guys that are in charge of your paychecks that prevented y'all from hashing it out. Why are you just now sitting down? Why weren't you sitting down then? I think this is two dudes. I think this is what happens. This is the risk you run good, bad, ugly, and different, or even if it's possible to stop. This is the risk you run when you get guys who believe that they become bigger than the game, not the team, but the game. These two dudes did this. These two guys created this situation, and now it's easier to blame all the people in the past than just going, yeah, it was on us. We acted like clowns. What do you want?
I know something about irreconcilable differences with somebody else and having to part ways. I've believe it or not, I've experienced that before. And when it comes down to, I can't blame management for those reasons. That had to do with me and the individual, not management's fault. Actually, management fixed things. And in this case, KD needed to leave. If I was management for Golden State, I would have found a way to ship Draymond out and keep KD if that were possible.
Yeah.
Because that's the better player.
Yeah.
That's the guy who could have.
Business sucks, huh?
Yeah.
Business sucks. Texter says, nice job on the bleeps, Rob. Never doubted you. Thank you very much. I'm a professional. I appreciate it. That makes one person.
Yeah, I'm still not happy with it. But
ESPN, even after listening to that, they both said things, but it still didn't resolve anything. I mean, I think they're resolved in that it happened how many years ago and it's over now, right? Like, it's been a couple of years down the road. They don't care anymore. Because so you ever been in a fight with somebody and then a handful of years later you see him again and you're just like, dude, whatever. Like,
no, I get along with everybody. I've never had an argument with anybody ever that I recall.
Lonzo's teacher threatened to shoot him. Yeah, I've had fights, not fist fights. I've never been in a
I
fist
just
fight
laid
in my
out
life,
a
but-
case of something, and I don't think you got it.
Oh, no, I get what you're saying.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. No. Oh, yeah.
See? See?
Yeah.
People are talking about seeing.
Yeah.
It's because I'm clever.
Yeah. So I get it, right? I also lay out a pack. Usually if I get in a fight with somebody, I lay out a 12-pack later and we're good. We're over it, right? There's a bottle of bourbon. Let's split it. We're good now.
That doesn't work for me. I would just rather throw jabs on the air for the rest of my life. But no, I have been in those situations where I've gotten with people I consider really good friends, and then years later, it's like things lessen and you forget why, unless there was a female involved. And
then,
that
one doesn't go away.
Yeah, that one doesn't go away.
That one doesn't go away.
Unless there's that, I mean, you just let it go, and a lot of times you get back with your boy and you guys are good.
Yeah, you get over it, right? I don't think either one of them cares anymore. Texas says, Rob, you've played in a band and know how egos kill bands quicker than anything. But that info in hand, if I had a problem with a member, no one else could fix it. Yeah, that's it. And I guess that's what I'm saying, right? Like, it's cool that you're going to sit here and you're going to blame Steve Kerr. And I'm not a big Steve Kerr fan. And you're going to blame the GM and you're going to blame the team. Who were the only two people that those two guys did not blame in that conversation? Neither one of them said, yeah, and I probably took it a little too far. I probably went a little far when I called you a bitch standing on the sideline. I probably took it a little far. I probably went over the line when we were dragging each other in the locker room to the point that media guys outside the locker room could hear it. Lonzo, neither one of these cats at any point in that conversation said, it might be a little bit on us, the two guys that were fighting. And that's a problem.
We don't know if they didn't do that off the air. Maybe that was done, and that's why that KD was able to come on the podcast, or KD got paid to be on the podcast.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Is it a sponsored podcast where you book guests and the guests get paid? It could be, but I'm willing to believe that they talked about it off the air and they're good.
Fair enough. I'll accept that. All right, when we come back here in just a moment from right now, that one is off the books. When we come back here in just a second from right now, big news out of college football. We'll talk about that, as that alliance between the Big Ten, the ACC, and the Pac-12 might be happening sooner rather than later. Tell you what the breaking news is on that when we return. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is ESPN Upstate.
Borderlands Comics and Games has been upstate South Carolina's leader in comics and games for over 30 years. Borderlands has over 300,000 comics. Need some quick cash? Borderlands is always buying comics, toys, games, and collectibles. No one pays more, and they'll treat you and your items with respect. Borderlands, located at 1434 Lawrence Road, or check them out on Instagram and Facebook and make your plans now for SC Comic-Con Junior, Sunday, October 3rd at the Greenville Convention Center.
This feature is sponsored by Indeed. Is hiring becoming your second job? Quit the hassle and get on Indeed. You'll get great candidates fast with Instant Match. Just sponsor a post and instantly receive a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Navien tankless water heaters, the proven leader in condensing technology. Request a Navien because you deserve the best in endless hot water delivery. Learn about Navien's condensing tankless water heaters and find a Navien contractor at tanklessmadesimple.com.
You can have prescriptions brought to your door with a free one-day delivery from your local CVS, or get same day, or just swing by and pick them up on the way home from the doctor. Is that your get your questions answered, and keep your mind peace, because there are still some things you just can't take with report box. That's helpful for me.
So what I got out of that segment is for a few years from now, Zoe and Mark will have a friendly reunion. Do a podcast together.
Nothing more frustrating than people not remembering conversations that were had and having to retell them word by word and wait to get in trouble for retelling them. Frustrating. Yo, Prism on the next break.
82% of you listening will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. 82% of you will note that if you're hiring, ZipRecruiter finds.
Can you write in cursive?
In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter.
Yes, I can. It's ugly, but I can do it. Unless the only time that I can print legible is if I pretend like I'm drawing. Whatever you have to fool yourself to the point where there have been times where I've been accused of having someone else write for me. Because if I pretend like I'm drawing, I can do it pretty well. If I don't, and I don't care, it looks like a third grader did it. But since cursive's going away, you know.
Yeah. That's why I was asking, because like I write in cursive most of the time when I write.
I write in block letters that look like a serial killer did it by taking, pieces of letters out of a newspaper. I write down my list every week of my to-do stuff to do. And the reason why I don't type it out is because it's the only time I ever really write. And if I stop doing that, I'm going to forget how to write eventually. I'll know it's over when I forget how to do a capital Q in cursive, because it's weird. Really?
I can never tell if Lonzo is frustrated with me or something else in the building because he looks at the computer screen right over my head. And so I don't know if he's just like rolling his eyes at me or there's just something else in the building.
We're good.
Okay.
We good.
All right. That's all I'm going for. That's all I'm worried about. All right. 844-477-3776. Texter said, so what I get out of that segment is a few years from now, Lonzo and Mark will have a friendly reunion and record a podcast together. I'm here for it.
It can happen. It absolutely can happen. I tell you what, it would be a very entertaining podcast.
Yeah. Another texter says those two already talked about it in Japan, and it's them putting over Draymond's podcast, Hustlers. I get it. That's a good point, Zoe. That's a good point. Those two guys were just together in the Olympics, weren't they? Solid point, Texter. Solid point. They had to get that out of the way in order to pull that off. But yeah, look, I'm not mad at Draymond trying to put his podcast over. We try to put this radio show over every single day. By the way, can I just say also, Lonzo, I respect the guy using the term putting it over. Thank you very much for using wrestling terms. You know how much that endears you to us.
Unless he thought he had to talk down in terms that we would actually understand. Then it's condescending, and I don't appreciate it.
He buried us. Buried us, man. Took all the heat and buried us. All right. 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text to 71307 on the Ingles Market text line. Tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word. Remind you that coming up in 13 minutes, the guys from the Moving the Chains podcast are going to, there's two of them, join us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate to talk week 0 high school football. Real quick story here is here's a fun one as we get ready to head out to break. Broke earlier this week that the U.S. Department of Justice announced on Tuesday that a former United States Golf Association employee is facing 15 federal charges for an alleged scheme to steal more than $3 million worth of U.S. Open tickets for resale on the secondary market. Federal prosecutor Jennifer Arbitier Williams announced that former USGA Assistant Ticketing Director Robert Fryer, age 39 of Pennsylvania, faces 1 count of conspiracy to commit mail and wire fraud, 4 counts of mail fraud, and 10 counts of wire fraud in the alleged embezzlement scheme. According to prosecutors, Fryer conducted the scheme beginning with the 2013 U.S. Open and kept it going through 2019. Prosecutors say Fryer stole, listen to this number, Lonzo, more than 23,000 U.S. Open tickets valued at more than $3 million. He then allegedly sold the tickets to third-party brokers for resale on the secondary market while collecting payments that put more than $1 million into his pockets, and did the entire scheme, though, without the USGA ever picking up on it. 23,000 tickets this guy stole.
That sounds like some movie mob stuff, doesn't it?
Yup. This is uncut gem stuff right here, Matt. Like, this is...
I was thinking Joe Pesci from Lethal Weapon, but, whichever.
Ballpark it. Unbelievable, man.
I'm picturing this guy as Joe Pesci now. I can't stop.
Yeah, I pick up the tickets, I sell them to the youths. The youths love the golf. I can't do a Joe Pesci. Not even in the
Well, even if you could, we wouldn't be able to do it on the air because there would be certain words that it would be like a KD Draymond kind of conversation.
Fair. All right, take a quick break. When we come back here in a minute, I'll give you the update on that Conference Alliance stuff. Also, coming up in the 220 segment, Fanboy Friday. Lonzo, you know who we're talking about today?
Yeah, whatever.
The best in the world. And a story where you are going to get to listen to and watch Lonzo have an on-air existential crisis. That's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
Prisma.
Prisma Health, the official healthcare provider of the Gamecocks and the Tigers, and they want to be the official healthcare provider for you and your family as well, and they make it easy for you. How do they make it easy for you? Well, they have over 2,400 doctors in their network around the area. They have dozens of facilities so that there is a doctor you trust in a facility that is convenient to you. And on top of all of that, if you go to their website, at prismahealth.org, you are going to see their My Chart feature right there. That My Chart feature makes it really, really easy for you to keep all of your medical information frontline, safe, secure, confidential, but accessible to you. So when you get test results back, you'll know what they are and your doctor will know what they are immediately. You can share them, and their virtual appointments there set up as well. You can meet your doctor face-to-face without having to leave your house or the office. So you're just in a bind. You got the projects, you got the kids, you got the thises, you got the that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can use a virtual visit and never have to change your plans. It's just that simple. Go to prismahealth.org to learn more. Prismahealth.org. It's our friends at Prisma Health right here in the upstate. The world premiere for James Bond's No Time to Die will take place on Tuesday, September 28th.
Why on a Tuesday?
That is the premiere, like the ball premiere.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know why.
I don't know. Tony Khan just tweeted something that might dampen your expectations if you read it a certain way.
I'm betting that excitement from the most anticipated announcement need to be the first thing this will build up through all out on pay-per-view. We'll make new fans welcome dormant wrestling houses back.
So do you get out of it what I get out of it?
What's up, fella? Yeah, come in right at 2:00. Top of the hour. Yeah, man. We're doing good. All right, buddy. We'll build up through all out on pay-per-view.
That should dampen your expectations if I read it the way I think I read it. And that would
How do you think you read it?
That would be someone not showing up, them just announcing that he's signed.
So you think they'll make the announcement, but he won't actually be there tonight? There is a 0% chance it's in Chicago. They wouldn't do it in Chicago if they were just announcing.
You're right. They wouldn't have, they wouldn't say there's a possibility of a major explosion, and there wasn't. They do have missteps.
If right. But there's missteps of, I thought this segment was going to work and it didn't. And there's a misstep of saying the F word into the microphone on the air. Like, one is a misstep and one is a mistake. If you put this in Chicago, called it the first dance, and you only did that to announce him, but not, I'm not even saying he has to wrestle, but not even bring him out, you would get nuke heat off of that. Like, the Chicago fans would ditch you.
What if he just showed up on video?
I will bet you $5 he's on TV tonight. I bet you money he's on TV tonight.
Before I saw this announcement, that was the angle I was going to go with in the segment. And that's the reason why I pointed this out to you, because that's where I was going. I was going to say, what if he doesn't show up? This makes me think there's a possibility he doesn't show up. Because you don't build up. The way it's worded has me concerned for you.
0% chance he's not on TV tonight.
Even after watching how Jericho lost, you still
yeah.
Okay.
I don't think they're done with the Jericho thing.
I bet they're done for now.
Maybe, but I don't think they're done with the Jericho thing.
Unless he has an I Quit match for the pay-per-view. So
do you remember? Do you remember? Well, I'll just show you. Do you remember this happening on television?
No.
Okay. So that happened during Batista's return leading up to 30. And for years, we all thought that was literally just a kid that was like, I'm about to make a move. But Batista just tweeted out that it was fake. Sorry. Scripted.
Bless you.
Thank you.
So Batista's straight up doing things to ensure that he never comes back.
Yeah, I don't think he's really revealing any earth-shattering secrets there.
Then what's the point of doing it?
Because it's fun.
Or he wants to burn some bridges.
I don't think there's anybody standing on that particular bridge, is there? That's less of a bridge and more of like a small tree branch over a creek.
If he's standing on it, though. That thing's bending.
Texas says, sorry, guys, I didn't know putting you over was a wrestling thing. I stopped watching after Monday Night Nitro. Oh, Nitro parties. What a way to start the week. Oh, yeah. I remember Nitro parties. We used to go to John Lackios' house down the street from me. That was our Nitro party. The Nitro Girls. Man, Nitro parties.
See, I didn't watch the Attitude Era because I was watching WCW. I had to pick one or the other. No, also I had a young family, which didn't need to be watching where WWE decided to go. So
those heathens,
including Sable, which was mentioned earlier.
Sable got a mention in our Celebrity Boyhood Crush segment. The Pac-12, Big Ten, and Atlantic Coast conferences are nearing an agreement to join forces to map the future of college sports, and an announcement could come as early as next week, according to the LA Times. The impending alliance, which The Athletic reported last week, comes in response to the SEC's move to add Texas and Oklahoma. There was immediate fear amongst the conferences that the SEC's power move to go to 16 teams would center too much influence on one of the Power Five and lead the rest to basically hung out to dry. So this alliance, featuring conferences that could cover the entire country with exception to the Deep South, could also end up including potentially Notre Dame jumping in the mix as well. If all those conferences agree to begin scheduling intriguing non-conference matchups exclusively with each other, there would be little need to go pillaging one another or adding any of the remaining Big 12 schools for an edge in the upcoming media negotiations. So why is this happening the way that it's happening? Well, I gave you my theory last week, and we'll talk more about this in the final of the show, but it's very simple. Because if these teams are able to start putting power together, if they are able to start consolidating their power together, then they will have a little bit more of an opportunity to hold down the SEC when the conferences go back to the negotiation tables for the expanded college football playoffs, and when it's time to start cashing out those checks. It's that simple. It's that easy. And that's why they have the accelerator mashed to the floor to get this done like now. We'll bring this back up in the third hour of the show. The Moving the Chains crew is next on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Just whatever you know. Nobody. John, I don't know if you've met Lonzo yet.
I'm not.
Hey, Ed.
Hey, John.
You want to grab those two microphones right there?
I told John I didn't bring you headphones. So.
Hey, I'll be all right.
So I used to have it set on my desk, but I don't know what happened.
Look at, oh my gosh, look at you guys. You guys got an outline.
But yeah, because I was telling John, I told you guys, I don't know how, if you want to, like,
Dude, I'll just
some questions, like, you tell me.
I will. I'll probably jump in with you guys for some of the teams you like.
Yeah.
And then we'll do that for 5-6 minutes. Y'all just kind of skip over those.
Yeah. What
and
time
then
would you be out?
17 after ballpark. And then for y'all's 3 upstate games of the week, I'll just turn you loose for those.
Sure, man. Cool.
If I'm going to go to one game tonight, which game am I going to?
I'm going to Greenwood Hillcrest.
Okay.
For one, it's fairly close. It's
Yeah.
good. That's probably the best upstate game, honestly.
Okay.
I mean, Burns Greer, I don't think it's going to be much.
Okay.
Gavin Spartanburg would be cool. 2 big names.
Yeah.
I'd say if you're in Spartanburg County, go to that game. If you're in Greenville County, go to Hillcrest.
Okay. I'm about to see if Courtney wants to sneak out and go watch some high school ball, or I may just go my damn self.
Come on, man. We'll be out there.
Okay.
Gonna make a trip over there.
Word.
Should be good weather, hopefully.
Podcast. Remind me where people can get it from.
Everywhere. Spotify, Google,
Okay.
Apple, any of that, yeah.
All right. Perfect. Sorry, we don't have working chairs for y'all, but
No worry. I saw
nobody
nobody
sells ESPN Upstate, so we just kind of we work with the cast off equipment.
What Rob means is that we're transitioning between equipment, and we're in the process of acquiring new equipment. And in the meantime, we have limited capacity.
Which means y'all gotta stand up.
So the brand new studio, is that going to be blocked? Like, what's going on with that one?
We're on stream. I will talk to you about that later.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the great one Lonzo, sitting across the glass, both metaphorically and literally, from your boy today. And now we welcome back to the show. It's been a hot minute, but ladies and gentlemen, my two favorite seasons are crawfish season and football season. I don't know if they can boil up some crawfish, but they can talk some high school football with us. Kevin Thomas, John Epps, the host of Moving the Chains, a podcast dedicated to high school football right here in the Upstate. Fellas, welcome back, man.
Rob, man, it's an honor to be here on the best sports show in South Carolina. I mean, I don't even know what to say, honestly.
You got the hardware to prove it.
You can say thank you. You can say, Rob, damn, you look good today. Very handsome as always.
You know,
all true.
I told John last night, I was like, John, we're going on the show. We got to bring our A game.
Yeah, don't suck.
We got to bring our A game.
Don't bring us down, man.
My heart's pumping a little bit.
I mean, now in fairness, you guys were part of the team last year and we did win. So don't get worse is really all it comes down to.
We can do that.
That's good enough for me. Good enough for me. All right, fellas, let's jump right in. It's week. What do we call it? Why are we calling it week 0?
Man, that's something that I've complained about for years. But
is it? So this is normal.
Yeah, week 0.
Week 0.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Why?
Not everybody plays this week. It used to be the big schools. So the big schools used to be what is now 5A would play 11 games, while the smaller classifications would play 10.
Gotcha.
So week 0 is kind of like, hey, we got a couple games. We don't have everybody.
Right. So next week 1, and everybody plays week 1. I gotcha. I don't like it. So week 0 coming up in just a minute. We're going to be talking about the 3 games you guys are keeping an eye on tonight. But I wanted to start as somebody who, last year I moved up here. Basically, my exposure to high school football was you guys, right? Like I was keeping tabs of it between the Greenville News prep section and Moving the Chains, and that was it. But this year kind of feels like we're going back to normal a little bit. We had some state champions in the area last year. We're getting back to that. A handful of teams that you guys think people should keep an eye on if they really want to follow the best of the best in upstate high school football this year.
Yeah, I think we got to start with the big boys first off with 5A, John. I mean, and a lot of them are the usual contenders. Dorman, Burns, Gaffney, they're going to be good again. Dorman's kind of got a QB battle going on, so we're going to wait to see how that kind of works out. But they've got some good talent. Kendall Norman at receiver, some good O-lineman is always there. The defense does worry me some. They lost all 3 linebackers, so that's kind of a scary thing there to replace. But, John, let's go with 5A teams you're liking.
I really like Dorman's good. They're always good. They're well coached. They're sharp. But I really got a feeling about Gaffney this year. That's a team. They had a really good season last year. They fell in the playoffs, but they're always strong, and they're always a tough team to play with. And I think they could get started off tonight against Spartanburg in a really good way. Very excited about Gaffney this year.
Yeah, TL Hanna in 5A is always tough, kind of run that triple option offense. They do lose their quarterbacks. They're kind of replacing him, but they've got some good options running the ball with Johnson and Cothran and et cetera from there. But
so I want to jump in. Triple option offense. Now, when I played high school ball, we had a team down in Florida that ran a triple option, and it always worked until it didn't, right? Like, is this a long-standing tradition for A in the area and B specifically for TL Hanna?
TL Hanna, yes, they've been doing it for quite a while. This coaching staff has only been around for 3 years or so, but this coach staff before them, this guy was his understudy, so he learned it from him. So they've been doing it for quite a while. As far as in the area, John and I had this conversation last week. We're seeing kind of a mix now. A lot of teams have kind of gone more to the spread, air raid, but then you still see some teams like a Greenwood or a TL Hanna or even a Woodmont who run kind of the wing T triple option offense. So it's been a good mix now. It's interesting to see how that has kind of grown here in the past few years for sure as far as offenses go.
I tell you, I think the college game has had a little bit of an effect on this because as we grew up, Kevin and I grew up, and Rob, you're about the same age as us. High school football in South Carolina, it was weird to see a high school team throw the ball more than 10 times a game. But you see all levels of football, everybody spreading out, throwing the football all around the field. The rules have made it more conducive for that as well. And high school has slowly adopted that too. And you see more teams passing the ball. But I feel like a lot of your traditional high school powers, they still want to run that football.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's and especially the high school level. I mean, it's a foundation is the run game at just about even the schools that have deadly quarterbacks and D1 wide receivers still want to focus on running the football. But the triple option is more than ISO dives. I mean, you've got 4 or 5 different decisions that have to be made and have to be made correctly if you want a chance for it to succeed. And when you're churning guys through there effectively every 2 years, every other year for position players, it's not easy, and it's not easy to do it well consistently.
Yeah, and that's one thing I mentioned with T.O. Hanna getting a new quarterback. That kind of gives you a little bit of worry early in the year for them, but how quickly he'll pick it up. But like I said, they've been a proven commodity last few years. I think they'll be just fine once that regional play runs around.
Yeah, you talk about another upstate team that runs that triple option is Greenwood, and they had a lot of seniors on that group last year. They had 30 seniors last year, but boy, they ran that triple option extremely well. Ask anybody that went to the Greenville game last year. They'll tell you very quickly how well that option ran.
Yeah, and John's had a couple more teams here that we like in the upstate. One of them has got to be Daniel, a defending 3A champion, and they get just about everybody back. The quarterback Pierman's back, the running back Edge, the receivers Merck and Spotifina. All those guys are back, along with some talent on the defensive side like Jaheim Lawson, Shaq Lawson, who went to Clemson, his little brothers. They're playing DE. So they've got a lot of talent. Chapman's been a powerhouse lately in 3A as well. Second year for Coach Cabinets. They've got some good players. Their quarterback Settle is a guy to look out for. He's going to be a good player this year, I think.
Daniel is arguably the best team in the upper state. And regardless of classification, and people want to talk about Dutch Fork in the Midlands, outside of Dutch Fork, Daniel might be the best football team in the state of South Carolina this year. They are incredibly talented. They are a team that knows how to spread out the field, throw the ball all over the park. They are a very, very fun team to watch.
I want you guys to jump into it's week 0, and you explained that a second ago, but I mean, there's not a handful of really good games going on tonight. If you guys give us the 3 games tonight that Upstate Prep fans need to keep their eyes on.
I'll tell you what, my number 1 game of the week, the game that we're going to be at tonight is Greenwood at Hillcrest. John, you mentioned that triple option offense that Greenwood runs. They were co-region champs last year. This is their coach's only second year, which, Rob, we're going to see a lot about some of these teams who have second-year coaches who didn't get a full offseason last year. Interesting to see how much of a difference that will make this year for them. But Greenwood, replacing 3 seniors like John mentioned, they're going to be led by Rapley and Jeffrey and Burton. But Hillcrest is a team that I like in 5A a lot. Second year for Anthony Frady there. They're really going to spread you out. Their offense is really based on the quarterback, Bennett Judy, a kid that can run and throw, and then a big-time running back, Logan Coldren. Really good player there. And this is going to be my game of the week is Greenwood Hillcrest, John.
I agree. I am very, very high on Greenwood. Saw them play a very good Greenville team last year. Rob, this is a Greenwood team, walked into Serene Stadium with the region on the line. At halftime, they were whooping Greenville 43-14. They demoralized a very good Greenville team last year. That's the way Greenwood runs their program. They're big kids. They're confident. They play a good, sound football game. And Hillcrest is going to have their hands full. Hillcrest is actually the 5A team in this matchup. Greenwood used to be in that classification. They are 4A this year, but they certainly play like a 5A team.
So when I was down in Florida, you could tell the teams that were kind of from out in the sticks, out in the country versus the teams that were in the city. The city teams are usually faster, had more what we would consider big-time athletes. And then the teams like up in Crestview, Florida, brought the big fellas and corn-fed boys and beef-fed boys down. Is that fairly consistent up here this way too, or is the talent pretty spread out?
I think you're onto something there.
Yeah.
You look at Greenwood, and they're going to maul you. They're big boys. In Greenwood, there's not much down there. It's a small community. I mean, it's a big school.
But Kevin coming in here just insulting communities like
that. Look, I like Greenwood, man.
Unbelievable.
University, let's go. I mean, come on now. But back where I'm from, towards the PD region, you see some of them farm boys. They grow them a little bigger down there. We'll say it that way. But but you play some of the, the big city schools or some of the Midland schools. Sure. They have a little more. Spread them out, throw it around. We're going to run around you. While the big boys are like, all right, let's line up and go straight at you. So you do see some of that.
These Greenwood kids, they walk through the halls and they hear about guys like DJ Swearingen. that played at Greenwood.
Right.
They want to be the next DJ Swearingen. They've got that mentality. Hey, we're tough. We're big boys. We're going to hit you in the mouth.
Game number 2, you guys like?
I like Gaffney-Spartanburg. We mentioned earlier, I think if you're in Spartanburg County, you should go to Gaffney-Spartanburg. If you're in Greenville County, you should go to Greenwood-Hillcrest. Gaffney-Spartanburg, these are 2 names, 2 schools that have been powerhouses for a long time. Gaffney region champs last year. They did lose a bunch. They lost their quarterback, Lindsey, receivers, Paceauer and Johnson, the big kid on the D-line going to Georgia, Ingram Dawkins there. But they do have a lot of talent back and a lot of new guys as well. They've got a new quarterback transfer. Grayson Loftus got some P5 offers coming over from Blue Ridge. They got a guy named Dowdle leading the defense. I like him a lot. Spartanburg's kind of an interesting team this year, Rob. They've got a second-year head coach, quarterback Raheem Jeter, big-time talent. We'll see how he turns out there. But their defense is very good, like a really good defense this year. But one thing that does worry me about Spartanburg this week, John, is Jeter got a little banged up last week in their scrimmage. Don't know if he's going to be 100% tonight or not. So I'm leaning Gaffney probably by maybe 14 points against Spartanburg.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit more confident in this one, Rob. I think Gaffney is really going to take it to him. Spartanburg was a little bit disappointing for me. I'm a big Hodge fan coming over from Chapman. But last year, Spartanburg, they underperformed. For whatever reason, they just did not have it. They lost to Union. They got blown out by Burns last year. Spartanburg's got to prove it to me this year. And until they do, I'm not going to buy it just yet. I know Gaffney's good. I know Gaffney is talented. They're consistent. I like Gaffney big time in this game. I think they roll.
And game number 3, you guys liked, you were talking earlier about Greenville County. You got Greenville at Rock Hill as game number 3.
Yeah, interesting matchup here. A 4A, 5A kind of collision here. Greenville, so much talent. They were co-region champs last year. Actually missed the playoffs due to a weird tiebreaker in the shortened playoff season, but they've got kids like Franklin and Sapp and Holland and Pepper and Sadler and Whitner. Like these are big-time names, big-time college recruits. They've got so much talent. Rock Hill, winless last season, but in 5 of those 6 losses, they had the ball with less than 4 minutes left with a chance to take the lead. So it's not like they were getting blown out. They've got a sophomore quarterback who's got some experience, Matthew Wilson. I still think Greenville wins this game, though, over in Rock Hill.
I'm going to go the other way. Rock Hill really took it on the chin last year. They went 0-6, but they played some really good teams. They played Sumter, tough game. South Point, really good team. Greenville, though, you can argue they've got as much talent as anybody, and it's spread out. They've got it on the line. They've got it at the skill positions. I think Greenville's got a very good chance to win this game, but going on the road to big District 3 stadium, that is a tough place to play. It's a tough place to win. I think Greenville keeps it competitive. I think Rock Hill is actually going to get off the schneid here tonight and get their first win.
First game you boys disagreed on. Now I know where I got to go watch football tonight, man. I got to go to the one disagree.
Rocks for real. Go for it, man.
Text on the Eagles Market text line 71307 says Greer Burns. They want a little Greer Burns talk. What do you got?
You'll hear that game tonight on ESPN Upstate.
Yep. The Rebels, baby.
Like quickly, I'll tell you, I think Burns rolls. They should be better this year than they were last year. QB Gabe Rogers should be improved. We got a solid O-line led by Eli Henderson, the Arkansas commit. Running back Mac Long's a player I really like. The defense is young. That does worry me, but they should hopefully grow up as the season comes along. And Greer's got a QB issue. They got to figure out what they're going to do there. They lost their best target, Jaleel Skinner.
Yeah, that was a big topic of discussion for us. IMG down there in Florida is that's a 4-star factory down there. The boys come out of there ready to go just about anywhere. So it's good news for him because if you get into IMG, it means you're going D1. But what a big loss for the team.
Yeah, that's tough. They're going to have to rely on running back Izzy Rhodes, I think, a lot this year until they kind of get that QB situation worked out. Even though it's under the water tower over there in Greer, I'm going Burns, probably 2 scores.
I think so, too. I think Burns, they took a little bit of a step back last year. Burns was not your typical Burns Rebels last year. They got beat up a little bit. Even got beat up at home a little bit. Nixon Field, you don't see that a lot. But I think they are a little bit better than Greer. But I tell you what, don't let that scare you from going to this game tonight. I've been to a handful of Greer Burns games, and I tell you what, the commentary you hear in the stands during those games is second to none. It's a great time.
I don't hate it. All right, 2 more on the text line before we cut you fellas loose. First one says, what about Dorman High this year?
Yeah, I like Dorman. I think they're probably the favorite in that region there with Burns and Spartanburg. Like we mentioned, they got a QB battle going on. The Kilborn kid and another guy trying to figure that out a little bit. Always have a great offensive line. That's going to be good for them. Kendall Norman at receiver is a big-time playmaker. That kid's been playing for 4 years, 5 years, it feels like. Defense lost all 3 linebackers. That does worry me, but we'll see. We'll see how I think Dorman should be pretty good.
I agree. I think Dorman's a great club. It seems like they always have a new quarterback, and every year their quarterback is very, very good. They are a very, very well-coached group. Dorman's going to they're going to play well. You cannot make mistakes against Dorman. I think they're going to be a solid team. A lot of fun to watch this year.
All right, last one. We'll cut you boys loose. And by the way, if you want more of Kevin and John's insights on prep football here in the Upstate, make sure you go follow them on Facebook at Movin', no G in that because they're cool like that. Moving the Chains SC. Follow them on Twitter and Instagram at Movin' Chains, no G, and pick up the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your podcast. Last one, Hurricane Jeff wants to know about Boiling Springs Bulldogs.
This is a team that had an up and down year last year. They lost game one, won 4 in a row, lost their last game, didn't do much in the playoffs. I think it's kind of going to be a down year for the Bulldogs this year. I'm not really expecting a lot of them, Rob.
I feel like we've said that before, and then Boiling Springs is usually a team that surprises us. We see a couple games go, oh, wow, Boiling Springs, they really gave Spartanburg all they wanted, or boy, they really gave Burns all they wanted. So they're definitely one to keep an eye on, though.
Love it. Love it. Ladies and gentlemen of the cast and crew of Moving the Change, John Epps, the best hair in prep sports in the Upstate. Kevin Thomas, who wears slippers as dress shoes. I don't know. You can look professional, Kevin, for once, man.
Get in where you fit in, man. That's what they say.
I'm not even mad about it. Not even mad about it. Lonzo and I wear flip-flops 5 days a week. All right. Appreciate you coming by, boys. Good stuff. As always, we'll get you on next Friday and run through week 1. What a weird sentence. That'll work. Kevin Thomas, John Epps, again, grab their stuff. Moving the Chains SC on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and grab the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, etc. We'll get them on next Friday. Fanboy Friday next on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
rinses a day. Find Smart Mouth in the mouthwash aisle at Walmart or get 20% off at smartmouth.com/radio.
But now for something completely different. Right.
That's very funny to me. Y'all ain't laughing though. Avengers!
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass. What do you think, butthead? You all would have to have what? But you have heard of it. Inconceivable!
It is time for Fanboy Friday. Time for us to talk about the things that we want to talk about, regardless of if you want to hear us talk. It sounds terrible when I put it that way. It kind of does, but that's okay.
This is where we talk about things other than sports that we know you, the listener, are also interested in. Why do we know? Because we have a forum every day, which is the Facebook Live feed, and these are some of the things that you're talking about there. So we're bringing the things from the stream onto the air.
It's he, good old Double J. That's JEFFJARRETT, the world's greatest singer, songwriter, and professional wrestler. Just ask him. Jeff Jarrett wrote an article for ESPN.com, the big one, the homepage of the mothership, where he laid out, Lonzo, the 10 greatest football players turned wrestlers. Here's the list. I'll give them to you because we got like 8 things we got to cover.
Isn't this funny, though? Because
literally what we talked about like 4 days ago.
Yes.
Yeah. We talked about it on Monday. On Wednesday, JEFFJARRETT wrote a column on it on ESPN. It's almost like Lonzo and I have our finger to the pulse of the people.
Or he was listening. Or both.
He was listening. He has 2 in the T10 position, Lonzo. He's got a pair of guys tied for 10. He lists them as Pac-Man Jones and Monty the Alpha Male Brown, who was big back in TNA in the day. Hey, Pac-Man, ain't no sin, go to the script club. Jones makes it at number 10. Had about a dozen matches in TNA. Was also, this is true, a TNA tag team champion along with Ron Killings, a.k.a. R-Truth.
Really?
Back in the day. Yep. Jeff Jarrett said that if Bad Bunny gets credit for how well he performed at WrestleMania, then Pac-Man Jones was better and deserves more.
So Pac-Man's better than Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny was
Bad Bunny was not bad. He was good Bunny.
He's no Pat McAfee, but he's all right.
True story. Number 9. He gives credit to an Atlanta Falcons turned Patriots turned Colts turned Rams offensive guard, 62 games, 20 starts. They called him very simply, Lonzo, Moose.
And I've never seen Moose wrestle.
Same.
Before.
Okay, moving on.
I've heard of him, though. I have heard of him.
Number 8, Jeff Jarrett lists as Flying Brian Pillman, Cincinnati Bengals linebacker back in the mid-'80s. Of course, suffered a motorcycle accident that cut his career short, so we'll never know how good the loose cannon Brian Pillman ultimately would have been. His son currently, by the way, in AEW is a member of the Varsity Blondes. He's going to be in a tag team eliminator coming up very soon. But Flying Brian Pillman at number 8 for Jeff Jarrett, Lonzo.
Yeah, and you're right. Think of how good he could have been if he hadn't had the accident. Because he's right along the lines of, when Stone Cold was getting big and all that.
Yep.
It could have been, and I just watched.
Stone Cold could have been a thing for a minute.
Beyond the Ring, isn't that what? I forget what the thing that's on Dark Side of the Ring. Just watched that thing about him like last week.
100%. Number 7, Chicago Bears defensive tackle, Green Bay Packers defensive tackle, 213 NFL games, 175 starts, 95 sacks for Steve Mongo McMichael. Down at number 7, that's probably the biggest surprise of the list.
Boo, he should be higher on the list.
Probably the biggest surprise. Jeff Jarrett said Mongo had the most upper body strength of anybody that he ever wrestled, quote, and I ain't kidding, end quote. He said he would literally throw you around I agree. Mongo should be higher. Number 6, Chargers defensive tackle in the 60s would go on to play for the Oilers. Your Kansas City Chiefs for a season as well. 112 games, 76 starts, 33.5 career sacks for the big cat Ernie Ladd, making this list according to Jeff Jarrett.
I've heard of Ernie Ladd. I don't recall ever getting to see him wrestle. But
he had feuds with Andre the Giant and Wahoo back in the day. Said he was one of the few guys who was anywhere near comparable in size and strength to Andre the Giant. I have to look Ernie Ladd up. I don't think I've ever seen any of his stuff. Number 5 on JEFFJARRETT's list. At number 5, how about a young man out of the Florida State University, went on to play a little Canadian ball, went to play a little arena ball. All I got to say about number 5, Lonzo, damn! Ron Simmons checking in at number 5 for Jeff Jarrett.
Ron Simmons, who will be in town in October for South Carolina Comic-Con Junior.
And ...
And we're working on it. And there's a very good shot that he will be on the best show, sports show in South Carolina.
Ooh, don't hate that. Him and Bradshaw, the APA, man. Jarrett said that Simmons, quote, worked a little snug. You knew when you'd been in the ring with Ron. Number 4, Lex Luger. Jeff Jarrett says he's not sure that Lex gets the credit he deserves. He drew very big money for a long time. There was a period when he was as big as a star of anybody in the business. Says he puts him there because he stepped directly off the football field and into the wrestling ring. Lex Luger at number 4 on the list.
I think the question is, who hasn't put somebody in the rack before?
Oh, I've done it.
Especially playing around with your kid or somebody. Just
Little
put them
brother
up there.
spent more time than he'd like in the torture rack.
That's right.
100% more time than he'd like in the torture rack. Number 3 on Jeff Jarrett's list, Lonzo, he has Chief Wahoo McDaniel on the list. I didn't know he played for as long as he did. Played for the Oilers, the Broncos, the Jets, the Dolphins. 105 games, 91 starts, and 13 picks for Chief Wahoo McDaniel before he made it to the league, and of course went on to be one of the biggest stars ever. I got no issues with him being at number 3, Zoe.
Same here. I'm down with that.
Number 2 on Jeff Jarrett's list of greatest football players turned wrestlers, he's got Joe Anoa'i. That, of course, would be known as your tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Played for the Edmonton Elks for a year, 5 games, 3 starts. Of course, probably more well-known for his time with the Ramblin' Wreck down in Georgia Tech. It looks like Jeff only used, Lonzo, professional football players turned wrestlers, did not give credit to the Miami Hurricanes of the world, or else The Rock would be on this list. Obviously,
but he counted Canadian football. I mean,
yeah, he did.
Yeah, but should he? It's Canada.
So you refuse to acknowledge him, is what you're saying?
I do not acknowledge him.
He is the head of the table. He is Roman Reigns. He is number 2, and Jeff Jarrett, number 1 on his list. No shock here. Nose tackle for your Atlanta Falcons. 14 games and a start, and a full head of hair for Bill Oldberg at number 1. Jeff Jarrett's number 1 football player turned wrestler is the man that owns the greatest streak, not held by The Undertaker, Bill Goldberg.
Does not look intimidating in that picture.
Not the hair. The hair is not.
Yeah.
The hair's not
so
great.
It just shows you when he went bald is when he got scary.
The hair's not great. It's really not.
His son, though, has that same kind of hair.
All right. A couple other things I wanted to get into on Fanboy Friday. This one is one that I think is going to give Lonzo an actual existential crisis on the air. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not on the stream, this is an opportune time for you to join us at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, because I am going to share it and we are going to get to enjoy Lonzo's reaction together. Elon Musk says that Tesla is working to make a Tesla bot. It is a humanoid-shaped robot for general purpose use.
Tesla bot.
Tesla bot. What'd I say?
You said Tesla butt.
Tesla bot.
The bot would have a butt, so I guess
would have a butt because it's humanoid.
Okay.
Tesla said it's not a joke. At its AI Day, Tesla revealed many details about its progress to develop AI technology. And then Elon Musk announced a one more thing moment when he brought forward Tesla Bot. He described it as Tesla moving to become the biggest robotic company in the world, says that the Tesla Bot will be geared towards doing, quote, repetitive and boring tasks as well as dangerous work. It checks in right now, Zoe, at weighing in at 5'8", 125 pounds, hailing from Elon Musk's dark and twisted mind. He is Tesla Bot.
You're assuming that it will be made to look like a male, and those pictures do not appear
androgynous.
to be. Yeah, that's not what's going to happen. It's going to be geared towards a male audience, a male buyer.
It's totally going to look like a chick when it's all said and done.
Going to be. Look at
Right
that.
now
That's not.
Like it looks like a human form with no gender leanings one way or the other. It's just a
I
slim
disagree.
human form.
That
looks like a woman to you?
It's a female.
It looks like a chick to you?
That is geared.
It looks
yes.
like a 5'8", 125 pound
Guys don't stand
human
like
being. The AI for general purpose robotics comes equipped with an autopilot camera and FSD computer to keep it regulated, multicam video neural networks, neural net planning, auto labeling, simulation and tools, FD hardware, and built-in training for movement, etc. It has 40 electromechanical actuators, including 12 in the arm, 2 in the torso, 12 in the legs, 2 in the neck, 12 in the hands. It has human-level hands, lightweight material, screened for useful information that will go, so it can actually read things out to you on its face when you look at it. And Elon Musk says that it will be able to take over common, boring, tedious tasks from human beings and replace them.
All right, I just got to say real quick, there are 2 key words in the last sentence that you just read.
Okay.
Take over. 2 key words. Take over.
I could have a robot.
What would you name her?
Robbot.
I thought
I just throw another B in the middle and it would go from robot to Robbot.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Why? I would name it after me.
Yeah, okay.
Because it'd be the greatest Robbot ever.
Yeah, but it's going to be female because they're not going to make any male robots.
If I could have a Robbot that would cut my grass and cook dinner for me, I'd take it yesterday. 100%. Robbot, cut the grass.
Except for Rob.
Grass now.
Rob lives in an apartment and doesn't have to cut grass.
Hey, Robbot, spaghetti, please.
Processing pasta now.
Hey, Robbot, go to the store and grab me spaghetti because I'm out.
Rob, you're an idiot. Acquiring spaghetti now.
All I can say is there ain't no daggum.
Bot called balls and strikes. If it can, I'd already rather hang out with Robbot than Angel Hernandez. All right, a couple more things on Fanboy Friday here. I wanted to get to this one. I'm going to spend a ton of time on it, Zoe, and we're still within the spoiler alert for episode 2. I watched Marvel's What If on Tuesday night. I think Tuesday night, whatever, doesn't matter. Watch What If. I gotta tell you, I really enjoyed the Captain Britain / Captain Carter episode. Really enjoyed that. I liked it a lot. It kind of set the tone for where the show's gonna go. It was a little like there were parts that were shocking because I mean, it's not like gory, violent, like blood flying everywhere, but she messes some dudes. She messes some Nazis up with the shield, like hard knocks.
Which
kind
is
of stuff.
what you should do against Nazis.
Which is, yeah, if you see a Nazi hit the Nazi.
Yeah, nobody
like,
said. Yeah, take them Nazis down.
If you see a Nazi, punch a Nazi. I agree with you on that one. But and again, really appreciate it. It was phenomenal. It was very well done. The stories were great. But I have to say, even though I knew that he voiced T'Challa, even though I knew that he voiced his character, when Star-Lord dropped down the mask and it was T'Challa and I heard Chadwick's voice Lonzo, I had like a visceral reaction, dude. Like I had to pause the show for a second because it brought it back, right? Like when we lost Chadwick Boseman not too long ago, it was a painful loss for those of us that had come to love him as an actor over the years, not just Black Panther, but as Jackie Robinson and all these other incredible movies that he did. But when I heard the mask go down and I heard Chadwick voicing T'Challa, dude, I'm not even gonna lie, I got straight up emotional on the couch at 3 a.m, Lonzo.
I will tell you though, the last scene in the thing is a game changer.
Oh, gutting, yeah.
Yeah, because in that continuity, it's over.
Yeah.
It is over. Everything that happened doesn't matter.
By the way, what a cool way to bring that one character. By the way, voiced by his MCU actor, which I did not expect out of that one character who played such a role in that. But I didn't know. Apparently, most of the Marvel characters are voiced by their MCU actors,
and some of the ones that aren't are voiced by the video game actors.
Yeah, and they're
actors. The other thing is the animation on that. I believe we discussed this off the air. Is pulled directly. It has to be pulled directly from the films. So, are they going to do? I'm waiting to see an episode that isn't directly associated with a certain movie, and I think this is a way to make it cheaper. I think that's how they made it cheaper.
There were some scenes like there was one scene, and we are outside of the spoiler alert window for episode 1, which is the Captain Carter episode. Like when she kicks the door out of the factory along with the Howling Commandos and she's shooting the gun. It's the same exact scene as from the first Avenger when Cap kicks that door down and comes through with the gun. And I think you're right. It's just easier to overlay and replicate the actual movies when they get there. But dude, it gutted me to hear Chadwick's voice as T'Challa, but it made me happy too, right? Like that's the legacy. He goes out as the Black Panther, and I think that's incredible. So anyway, there's Fanboy Friday. Come back, say goodbye, and then Twitter trending topics to wrap it up on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
I'm gonna say the other thing you want to do is in Twitter if you want to wait for that.
Find out if joint pain is affecting your quality of life by taking a free health assessment. Don't let hip or knee pain hold you back. Learn more at prismahealth.org/ortho.
We're all on this planet together, so join Odyssey and find your one thing. Improve your gas mileage by properly inflating tires and taking your car in for a tune-up. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Fisher is different? How? Don't you just ride the wave?
Nope. We actively manage client portfolios based on our forward-looking views of the market. In times like these, we understand that clients want proactive communication and guidance.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we get to know our clients so we can tailor their portfolios to their specific goals and needs. We even offer resources on Social Security, Medicare, tax efficiency, and more. Our primary goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions, right?
No, we don't sell commission products. Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, our fees are transparent, structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, and our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes
I have
them
not.
America's #1 battery destination. AutoZone.
Can Tesla bot call balls and strikes? See, I like that because it shows that people have continuity with the show.
Yeah, continuity. We're all going to die. That's continuity.
We're all going to die.
I'll start wearing the sandwich things. I forget what they're called. You know, it has a billboard on either side. Sandwich board. Okay. The doomsday sandwich board's in here. Have to stand up the whole show though. I mean, just wear the front one.
I just blocked Stephen A. Smith's page, and I feel so much better about it. I have one more topic for Fanboy Friday that I have to bring up, and it's not the one Lunza thinks it is. I just found yesterday afternoon the origin story of Tony Kornheiser. You know who Tony Kornheiser is, right?
I would think anyone listening to this station probably knows who Tony
I would think
Kornheiser
so.
is.
So PTI host Tony Kornheiser has given his origin story, how he got into sports commentary. Turns out that he was a rock and roll news critic, right? He was a rock critic for Newsday. And he said that many moons ago, he went to the Calderon Music Theater in Hempstead one night to see the band Kiss. He said he went to see Kiss. He said, I'd not heard of Kiss, not heard of them at all. I watched this band go on that stage in that makeup, 4 pretty big guys, and bang out a sound that was deafening. I looked at this and I said, whoa, this is something I have never seen before. This is going to be the biggest thing in music quickly, and I'm getting out of the rock critic business. And I stopped within a month. And it wasn't that I didn't think that they were good. It was just beyond me where it was going. The theatrics of it and all of that was beyond me. And there would be no way to fairly evaluate the music because it came in that package. You had to deal with that whole package. He would move from Newsday to the New York Times in 1976 to the Washington Post in 79, where he started covering sports for years before he ended up getting into it with ESPN. We have Tony Kornheiser because Kiss played their guitars loud.
All right, so now I need a face-to-face between Gene Simmons and Tony Kornheiser. What a wonderful conversation that would be. And it would be an interesting conversation. It wouldn't be, rocker, because if you've seen Gene Simmons talk, pretty smart guy. So
Super smart dude.
I would love to see them have a discussion about that.
100%. 100%.
Was Tony right?
Love that story.
What was Tony right?
Yeah, 100%. Well, yes and no. I mean, nobody ever matched the theatrics of Kiss.
But he was saying he saw the direction rock and roll was going. It only really went that. I mean, a couple other people tried to do something similar, but Kiss is Kiss. And did they change rock music forever? They're just them, right? Rock didn't change to become more like them. They're always them. So I think he was wrong in his assessment.
I think you're correct. I don't think. I mean, there's only so much Kiss, right? There's only so much Kiss. It's hard for anybody else to be Kiss. I don't think anybody else can do it.
Kiss would have changed rock forever. There's certain rock ballads we never would have gotten in the 80s that I wish would just go away, like When the Children Cry. But
keep in mind that at one point, Kiss did disco. They did Kisco. It wasn't great. There's my review. Let's take a break. When we come back, Twitter trending topics to call it a Friday, baby. Right here on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
So you're saying you're not a fan of I Was Made for Loving You, baby?
I was made for loving you, honey. You were made for loving me. Da-da-da-da-da. We were on the drive to Mad World last night, and Lick It Up came on, and like 2 minutes in, Courtney was like, what is this song? It's like, it's Kiss, man. Lick it up. Lick it up. Oh.
It's only right now.
What?
I'm not screaming it. I did the next part of the song. I know the glass like deafened my whispering.
It did.
I have a show to do tomorrow. I can't be losing my voice right now. Being on the air has removed my ability to sing my voice out. There was a time when the band was going on and I had a Saturday show at the same time. And I found out that if I put too much energy in one, it killed the other one. That was tough. But I wasn't a professional like Rob Brown. He could do both because he's awesome. Am I the only one who's looked at Rob's shirt and thought, okay, is it faded?
It's inside out.
Oh.
Not actually inside out. That's what you thought.
No.
Made vintage. Now, here's the weird thing. It actually looks the way you would think it looks on the inside of the shirt in order to create the vintage faded look on the outside. So it's actually screen printed on the inside of the shirt, but dark enough and in reverse, obviously, so that you get the correct image on the outside, but faded.
Have you ever put it on backwards?
Yes. But I mean, it's obvious once you put it on, it's like, oh, he's too bright. Cap's too blue.
Is there a tag on the other side? Is that how you? Okay.
It's on the inside. It's not like a.
It's a printed
paper
tag.
It's a printed tag, but yeah, it's on the inside.
I got you. That might very well have been the nerdiest thing, the discussion we had the entire show.
Not even close, dude.
Can't wait to go in the office and do the Google thing. It says 10 to 20 minutes. I know you. Yeah, but it's me, so it'll take 3 hours probably. Not because I can't figure it out, but because of complications.
It'll only take you 3 hours to get logged in, but once you're logged in, it's literally 2 steps, dude.
Well, once we go to that, I guess I'll start using some of the tools. The only Google Doc I've ever used is ones that have been sent to me, and I probably should use that some. I could probably do my show prep on that and not have to print it out. But I can't do that because of computer problems. I always print stuff out. Anytime I've tried to just use the computer, something happens.
Yeah.
So
I use only the computer every day. I am flirting with disaster, as Molly Hatchet once said.
Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our KeyStock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/KeyStock to learn more.
I only have 2 things on Twitter. I'm letting you know, but we'll be good.
Well, one of them, I can take the whole segment off.
Yeah,
so.
which is why we're doing that one second. Because I want to make sure I get the first one in. But the first one we could also go the entire segment on. So
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G.
I gotta figure out where I want to eat tonight.
Dude, I think I'm going to go to a high school football game and grab some high school football hot dogs.
The food at Hillcrest is pretty good, if I recall. And Hillcrest is just right off of 385. It's pretty easy to get to. You get to go to Simpsonville.
Yep. That's what I've been led to understand.
And when you're doing that, I'll probably be down the road in Simpsonville watching that movie. Not because I don't like high school football. You know, I just. All right, it is time for Twitter trending topics on this Friday on this award-winning program where I will tell the award-winning hosts of this award-winning show what is trending, and he will tell us what he knows about it. And the first thing trending is Mike Richards.
Mike Richards, who was tapped as the next host of Jeopardy by Mike Richards, who did not vet Mike Richards to stand in the shoes of the late, great Alex Trebek. Mike Richards has now had to fire Mike Richards after hiring Mike Richards for Mike Richards' failure to vet Mike Richards, because Mike Richards apparently said some pretty awful stuff on some podcasts in the not too recent past. And so Mike Richards is no more. Shocking to me that the guy in charge of finding the host then selected himself without actually going through the work to make sure that himself was a good host for himself to pick. He is out now.
This is funny.
LeVar, Miam Bialik, Aaron Rodgers, or me. Those are your four
The
options.
people who are really upset about him being picked are celebrating the fact that he is no longer doing it. And I believe that there's something going on. And I believe that that these are the LeVar Burton people. If they don't like who they pick for Jeopardy, they're going to find some dirt on you until you make LeVar Burton.
I don't think that's at all.
These people are evil, the twisted.
What? To insinuate that any one of us who grew up with reading Rainbow would turn out evil. Lonzo, you have had some incredible conspiracy theories, but this one might take the cake.
It's LeVar Burton. They're trying. He was.
If you even question LeVar Burton and his credentials, just take a look. It's in a book.
It's reading. You're
that role. He's already gone through his scandal. He's
clean now.
I too.
Quixote, relax.
Hey, this windmill is real.
I just busted out.
Well, the wind. I'm not sure that we actually have
Give me
enough
the other
time.
one so we can do it. Say it. Just say it.
All right, in Living Color is.
Say it.
Living Color is
I
trending.
know your anger. I know your dreams. I've been everything you want to be.
You little.
Best in the world.
He's
CM
not-
Punk
he's
show.
not-
The first dance.
You'll be so disappointed when he's not.
World. CM Punk on AEW. First dance tonight. Lonzo and Mark. No, Diesel and Mark. I was looking at Lonzo.
Yeah, producers all look alike.
Diesel and Mark are up to talk about other things besides AEW next on Offsides. Have a great weekend. Don't drink and drive. I'll see you on Monday. Good night!
ESPN Upstate, WIRD Greenville, WORD Spartanburg, WFBC FM HD3.
Yes, I did find it fun to scream in everyone's